me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets!
Bands will make a dance. Bands will make a dance. Bands will make a dance. Welcome, everyone, to a very, very historic episode of Spittin Chiclets, episode 553, but let's call it episode 895 because we just witnessed greatness, and it was all because of the great eight himself, Alexander Ovechkin. What an incredible weekend, an incredible Sunday afternoon on Long Island. That's the first time anyone's ever said that. And we want to just thank Pink Whitney before we get going, because the Pink Whitney was flowing in Moscow. It was flowing in Long Island. It was flowing everywhere in celebration of Alexander Ovechkin becoming the greatest goal scorer to ever live. So go on out right now, and if you're a Capitals fan or if you're a hockey fan in general, just pour out a little Pink Whitney to yourself, make a little drink, and just think about all the goals that this man has scored. And thanks to him, we are now here talking about one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed. Guys, Keith, Biz, how you doing? What's going on? Biz, you got to broadcast this game on TNT.
Yeah.
Awesome move that the station and the channel ended up grabbing that game. Take me through your thoughts and what you kind of witnessed.
Oh, just an unreal weekend of hockey. Just very blessed to be able to be a part of it and calling it and seeing all the behind the scenes. And I thought it was storybook. The way originally I kind of wanted him to get the hat trick on the empty net. Like, I didn't care if it was going to be the empty net because you're at home. Everybody's going crazy at the fact that you're going to get a hat trick. You seal the deal for the win and you get to then celebrate at home. But I think it ended up working out perfectly at the fact that he declined the empty net and then gets it done in Long Island halfway through that game. And I don't know how some people feel about celebrations in the midst of a game. Like, I thought it was done perfectly. Like, that's when it needed to happen. Like, they ended up getting back to that game. And, thank you to the Islanders and all the players for kind of just standing around watching. But they have to admit, man, that's got to be one of the coolest things that they've ever been a part of as a player, regardless if you're like on the quote unquote wrong side of it, but they still ended up pulling off the W. So just the mic work from having Wayne there to what he said and to hand it off to Ovi. And I think from this whole situation, the whole lead up, man, Ovi seems like one of the most humble guys. You could tell it like having the focus on him made him a little bit uncomfortable. Not when he was out there trying to go for this record, and we'll get into all the goals that he scored down the stretch. Like, we talk about it in the Strome interview. I don't know if it was Jans or Witt who brought it up. Like, to have the pressure that everybody's watching you to expect you to close this out and to close it out as quickly as he did, like, you have to have fucking jam and you have to be special. And that's exactly what this guy is. And just born to score goals and just can't believe that between him and Sid, with the pressure that they had coming into the league to kind of take that torch and run with it, what both of them have been able to accomplish to then get to this mark of passing the goal record with goalies as good as they are and defenses as structured as they are. It's unreal. And no shocker that at 39 years old, on a year that this guy broke his leg, just past the 60 game mark, he's got 42 goals, his 14th 40-goal season, 2 more than any other player to ever play the game. So it's a storybook ending, and that's the only way it could be described as this is scripted. It has to be. Gary's doing a hell of a job.
So I think he did it on purpose, not scoring at home, because he saw in the schedule Sunday afternoon game. We don't play till Thursday. We get 3 days to run hard.
Green light.
So he knew the green light when he sees a green light. But yeah, and just all like the clips that you see of him of the old, like when he's at whatever 500 goals and people asking him if he ever thinks it's going to be broken. He's like, no chance that could ever be broken. The humbleness from a guy that can score at will is so amazing. And you don't see it in any other sport but hockey. And the thing that I love about it, and I think me and you were talking about it, Biz, like, he's done it his own way. Like, he came into the league when celebrations weren't, like they are nowadays. And he caught his flack for it, but he stayed true to himself for all 895 of these goals and just doing it his way, having fun. Because at the end of the day, it's, we're playing a game, and he's a big kid out there. And, you see him now with his son in the stands, going over, giving him high fives, like just to see him, like we all saw at 18 doing it and jumping into the glass and doing the hot stick. Now he's celebrating with his family. It's amazing what he's done with his career. And, when it comes down to it, it's, he's one of the best to ever play hockey, not just goal scoring, like just to lace them up. Cause I played against them in the playoffs in New York, and you didn't want to be on the ice against him, not because he was going to score, because he was going to run you through the glass or, be hard on the forecheck. Just an all-around unbelievable player. And you just love when good things like this happen. And you have Wayne Gretzky there who's congratulating him. It seems like he's more happy for him than Alex is than for himself. So truly amazing weekend for hockey. And like you said earlier, Biz, you'll never forget where you were for that one.
It's pretty cool. I'll hand it over to you. Like, it's pretty cool that you got to be explained basically from Wayne how when Howe got it broke, like the exchanging of the gifts from the wives, and just how like receptive they are to handing that off, and how they want to be a part of it. And it's almost like a tradition. And it kind of speaks volumes to like what the hockey community is really about.
The greatest community in the world. And I think that's kind of where I ended up as this all went down. So, Friday night, I and we have a great interview coming up with Dylan Strome, who kind of takes us a little bit behind the scenes on the entire season. And it was really cool of him to come on, and we got some inside perspective of this entire, legendary chase. But Friday night, I'm like, he might do it. Merle's on Game Notes Fridays, like he's doing it tonight. I think he bet it 20-1. You had the option on DraftKings, but I'm like, he really might. Like the greatest you've ever seen in sports. They just do things that you can't even fathom. I was like, this is probably how it'll go down at home. And so just to be able to watch that game, and he comes so close, even after Leonard gets the empty netter, he has like 3 chances. You're like, oh my God, but it wasn't meant to be, which was fine. And we'll kind of go into that with Strome, but so Sunday, I'm very excited. We actually had Ryder, they had 4 games this weekend for next season. Don't even get me going on parity youth hockey for next season, trying to get in the league. I digress. I apologize, fans. But right in between our 2 games was Ovi's puck drop. I'm like, perfect. I don't really care. I'm not going to miss anything. And when he did it, it was like, my wife, who doesn't care about hockey at all, she was even into it. She's like, oh my God. And the kids are sitting there. And I've been telling Ryder and Wyatt about Ovechkin, probably started a month ago. I'm like, he's gonna break this record. He's chasing this record. So they were kind of like, oh, how many more goals does he need? OV. He's like, yeah. And so he breaks it, and we're all sitting there watching. Awesome celebration. And then they get the carpet out there, and Wayne comes down with Bettman and his wife and Ovi's family. And Keith's known me 35 years. I'm an emotional guy, and never would I have thought I'd be sitting there kind of emotional over that. But my eyes welled up a little bit, and I'm like, this is history. This is, I kind of was I just felt so blessed to play in the NHL and to play against him. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching and thinking about this record. And when you first heard, even anyone mentioned, shout out John Buccigross 10 years ago, he first talked about this. It was there's just no way. And when people would come into the league, you're like, oh, I don't care how much of a goal scorer this guy is. He could never get 895 goals. That's just it's a number that's in outer space. And so then I'm sitting there and it's just I think it goes back to the hockey community and how much teammates love each other and how much people respect the game and respect the history of the game. And Wayne being there and the Gordie Howe pin that he has on the number 9 in honor of the guy that the record he broke. And it was just overwhelming. I don't think anyone out there thought this was a possibility for the longest time. And then this farm animal from Moscow who not only scored goals, but did it without ever cheating the game. And you could say defensively he may cheat a little bit sometimes to get goals, but dude, you got 895 of them. You're allowed to cheat whenever you want. So the whole day was just magical. I thought it was so cool. It did happen on a Sunday afternoon where, I'd love to see the ratings on that game because
Yeah.
Tickets were going for a crazy amount in Long Island.
I think
for that
they were
game.
minimum $800 the night before.
Nice.
Jeff was looking. You pretty much nailed it though, Whit. Everything you just said. Like I got emotional too, and like you just felt grateful in that moment to be part of the hockey community. The way that it was presented and what was said about how Gordy had handled it to Wayne and Wayne had handled it to now Ovi, and just how every time Ovi opened his mouth, all he wanted to do was thank his family, his friends, and his teammates. Right? It was never really about him. It was about it was the we, not me. Right? So it was just an incredible day. And as dumb as I am, thinking the empty netter would have been the way to go out. No, he trumped it all. So anything else, Jans, that stuck out to you?
I got a little stat for you guys if you want one.
Oh.
I got a couple crazy stats. I wonder if yours is one of these. Go ahead.
Okay, so since he came in the league, the Washington Capitals have scored 4,806 goals. He obviously has 895 of those. That's 18.6% of their goals in fucking 20 years. Is that not insane? Like that's what you leave for a tip, Biz. 18%. He's doing that at scoring for an entire organization. It is. I can't wrap my head around the fact. Like I thought it was going to be like I don't know, but that just blew my mind. 18% of the team's goal in 20 years.
Just to watch the Capitals and know that every fifth goal, it's Ovi for 20 friggin' years. And it kind of goes back to like basically what the Capitals were before they got Ovi. And they were, I mean, there wasn't much there, man. Like they had some good teams. You remember they went to the finals against the Red Wings. They were swept, but overall, it was years and years of kind of frustration from Capitals fans and not being able to get over the hump. And they had Peter Bondra and they had Rod Langway and Olaf Kolzing and some amazing players, but he truthfully like changed the entire franchise and made them into this must-watch, entertaining, high-flying team that went on to finally get their Stanley Cup. And for Ovi, there was a long time, dude, where his game was questioned, right? Like, yeah, he can score goals. What else is he doing? He's hurting you defensively. In the playoffs, they win the President's Trophy. They lose to the 8th seed. It's like there was questions, and there was probably a time where if it had been later in social media and how things have progressed with pressure on players and teams, like maybe they end up trading him. Like it is a different world, and that sounds insane. And you would think that they never would, but they could not get it done. And all Capitals fans just had like, all right, well, we got this superstar. We still can't win a cup. And then he got that. And then the next thing was like, can he do this? Could he get the most goals in the history of the NHL? And he goes on to do that too. So a couple of the other crazy stats was the whole April 6th date. And I think this has been going around where people have seen it enough. But April 6th, 1980 was the day that Gordie Howe scored his last goal, number 801. And then April 6th in 2004 was when the Capitals won the lottery to draft Alexander Ovechkin. And 21 years later, on April 6th, 2025, he gets his 895th goal. And
that
it's
is
like
fucked.
It's crazy.
It's scripted.
It's like that's why sports, professional sports, is the greatest reality TV there'll ever be. It's like things that you write down and imagine in a movie. Like that, no, that's too unrealistic. Like they actually happen.
Jans disagrees. Disagrees.
Have you seen season 4 of Teen Mom?
It's not 16 and pregnant, but it's close to it. It's close to it. The other amazing number was it was his 1,487th game, which was the exact amount of games Wayne Gretzky played to get 894.
Crazy.
Like what the fuck? It's just crazy.
We're in simulation.
Yes, we're on simulation, Biz. Which means the Leafs maybe they will get their Stanley Cup.
Do you think when he retires, remember when Wayne retired, they had 99 behind the net? You think they'll put an 8 in his spot?
If they don't do it, they're morons.
Yeah. If they don't do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's a good question because you're going to have 87 too. You wonder if I'm of the opinion that Sid and Ovi will be the guys you let immediately into the Hall of Fame the way they did for Wayne without the 3-year grace period. I think it's a no-brainer with those two.
Probably do it, together. Although, like, fuck,
Should just do it
I
while
was
they're
going to
still
ask
playing.
you guys this: how many more years? Like I think that it would be crazy if Ovi's playing, if he plays more than 2 more seasons past this one. I think right now I feel like he would retire at the end of next year, but I also feel if he puts up 40, 45 goals again, like which is not that crazy because he will do it. He will. He'll might want to stick around for 1 more year to get to 1,000. Like that's imagine getting 1,000
would be crazy. 1,000 would be crazy.
If they won the cup this year, I could also see him retiring, going out on top. Imagine that for a year.
That's where I just simply wouldn't be able to see it being broken if he gets to 1,000, because that means you have to play 20 full healthy seasons in the league and score 50 goals every year to catch him. Like that just doesn't happen.
So I there was a number here that I saw on Twitter flying around that right now. So a kid, some 10-year-old kid who's going to become a superstar in 7 years and be in the NHL a year later, he needs 20 seasons of 45 average to get to 895. Like that's what I think is the craziest thing is the ability he's had to stay healthy. And of course, the year he does it, he breaks his fucking leg. He has 42 goals in 61 games, you guys. He's 39 and coming off a broken leg.
That might be his best pace throughout his career. Other than maybe the 65 goal season, like that might be his best pace.
Yeah. And that's like the health aspect of it is the craziest thing. Like you can have all the skill and the greatest shot in the world, but like, can you stay healthy? Can you play this many games? And then if you're that good, you're going to be on a good team more than likely. And then you got the playoff games, which is like dog years in players' career. Like it's just like add minus a year off their career for every 50 NHL playoff games they play. And it's interesting because you look at goals per game, and you guys know who's number 1 in the history of the NHL
Bossy.
for goals. That's Mike Bossy at 0.76 goals per game. You know who number 2 is?
Maybe Mario?
Mario at 0.75, right behind Mike Bossy. But just to see the greatness of those two legends, like it was the health. And that's why Ovi has just kind of boggled everyone's mind. Like
that's why I think it's crazy, because not only the health, but out of all those guys, like he played probably the most closest to Gordie Howe, how aggressive he plays. So it's not like he's just hanging back and like never getting touched. He's in fact like trying to inflict pain. So the longevity component to with how his style of play was, that's the most like earth-shattering part about all of this.
And you guys talk about his retirement, and he did a 2019 interview with Linda Cohn from ESPN, and she asked, do you ever find yourself thinking about what if that happens? What if you become the game's all-time leading scorer? Ovechkin answered, you're probably never going to see me on the ice again. Instant retirement, she asked. Yes, right away. See ya. And then laughed.
He's playing with too much momentum now. I think there's no way he doesn't play next year.
I think, and he's got the year on his deal. But there was a interview with Elliot Friedman before it was right around the World Cup in 2016 where he brings it up, and he's like, no, I think it's impossible. Like with the game the way it is right now, I don't think you'll ever see anyone touch it. And the longer he goes, the less likely it is. I think Matthews is on a better goals per game, or maybe how many goals he has through a certain amount of games than Ovi was. But like we just mentioned, like he has a hard time staying healthy. So like you look at like every goal he gets, it just becomes harder and harder and harder to fathom somebody possibly reaching this. But I thought it was pretty evident that Gretzky was a little emotional. Like maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like almost, his kind of career is like flashing before his eyes. And I imagine like it probably felt like yesterday that he was on the ice with Gordie Howe and Gordie Howe's wife and his family. And he even mentioned in his speech, which by the way was hilarious. Like first he mentions, I'm glad I'm not in the Nassau Coliseum. He's popping jokes. He's telling Bettman,
special.
what are you going to buy? Or Leonis, what are you going to buy him? I got a Rolls Royce. And that actually leads back to Keith in a sec. But Gretzky's like, I imagine is like, this was yesterday and I was doing this and now like it's a circle of life in the NHL. Records are made to be broken, and I'm sitting here with Ovi and I'm shaking his hand, and we've talked about, his wife giving the gift, as you said, Biz. But Keith, when did you first see that car? I don't remember.
Yeah, so it was that trip. I think it was during COVID. A bunch of us, remember, we did a couples trip over in Nantucket. It was before I think
Yes.
either one of us had a house there, but there was like 8 of us over there, and it was me, Bill, Kristen, and Nina sitting at a bar, and this older guy was sitting there telling us he was from Florida. He was probably like 70 years old. He's like, yeah, I got a bunch of cars if you want to see them. And me and Bill know nothing about cars. We were like, yeah, we're so into cars. Let's go check them out. So we went the next day to go check them out. And this dude, mind you, you're in Nantucket where no one has like a lot of property. It's, it's a small island. He's got, I think, 4 different garages that are basically like warehouses, just rows and rows of cars, all pristine, beautiful. He didn't know I was a hockey player, this guy. He's like, oh yeah, this is the car that was given to Wayne Gretzky when he broke the record for the most goals. It has the plaque and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how does this guy have
that?
I don't know. I don't know if he's like an auction guy and they sold it at an auction whenever he got, I don't know. I didn't really get too into it. If I run into him this summer, I'll try to buy the car off of him to give it to Ovi, but I don't know how he got a hold of it, but the fact that I saw it was pretty
That'd
amazing.
be pretty sick to be cruising around in Wayne's old Rolls Royce.
Yeah, so he drove us back to our hotel in that car, which was pretty sweet.
So his quote here that G just sent over from Ovi, it is not a question of money. It is just a matter of principle. I have only played for 2 teams, Dynamo Moscow and Washington. Obviously, I will stay with Washington for another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then I would like to finish on a high note to play my final game with Dynamo back in the KHL. That was in 2021. So, we're 4 years later. Like, maybe this year, I actually do think if they win the Stanley Cup, he might retire. Maybe go back and play a year in the KHL. Selfishly, though, I want to see him keep going because, like you say it, Biz, he probably will get 40 goals next year again, which would be 15 years of 40 goals. And the other thing that cracked me up, and Strome talks about this, is like, all right, well, he got 2 against Chicago Friday. He's going to break it Sunday against the Islanders. And everyone, the tickets are going crazy. And I was like, it's so hard to score in the NHL. Like, it is near impossible to get a goal in the NHL. Biz, and everyone's just like, oh, he's going to score. And he did it again. He fucking did it again. And every time you were like, I don't know, man, this guy might not score tonight. And it was just in his spot. I tweeted out, I liked how it was just an old school, like, bring it behind your wrist shot, about 10 inches off the ice, right over the goalie's pad, snipe, celebration was on. So, Biz, you said it, storybook.
And like, I liked when Wayne got asked, I think it was Bones asked him kind of about the different eras. And Wayne's like, wow, we had the red line. We had guys fucking skiing us the whole game, interfering with us and shadowing us, and they didn't start the PPs in the offensive zone. So there were just so many things that like could prevent him from scoring. So at different eras, it's hard to compare, but I think that everybody would agree it's a little bit harder in this era, just a little bit based on like how good teams are and goalies are. So I don't really have much else to say on it, man. Just grateful to be a part of it. Crazy rip, and it was great to interview Strome, who's had a bit of a tough start to his career, kind of got moved around a little bit, didn't get qualified in Chicago, and he gets an unreal landing spot and ends up with a great group of guys and a great team, and is able to contribute and be part of a record that'll last forever. So just remarkable. And do you want to throw it to him now, Whit?
I think we can in just a couple minutes. We should just probably stick with Washington, who was in the news prior to even or separate from the OV goal chase with one of the craziest, most violent games of the season against Carolina last week.
We did that too.
And
so
these
we had both games.
You guys were doing that game as well?
We did that game. That was last Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. So these two teams are pretty much like on a crash course for the second round. That's how it looks like it probably should shake out. Now, usually things never go as they should go in the NHL playoffs, but they went into Carolina, Washington did on a back-to-back, and they just got their lunch fed to them. Carolina's humming at home. Strome talks about how difficult of a place it is to play, especially for a back-to-back. And it got violent. And all of a sudden, you see at the end of the game, Davis Chatfield fighting Connor McMichael. one of the craziest moves I've ever seen. It was a figure 4 leg lock choke slam to the ground. McMichael had no helmet on. Thank God he hit his shoulders and didn't hit his head off the ice, or else he could be dead. When you were doing the game, when you first saw this, like the replay of actually getting the leg behind him, what did you think?
Yeah, like right away, my radar kind of went off, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe they were jockeying for position, and it was kind of one of those like they were already falling down anyway, so he's pulling them over. I felt like it was a little bit premeditated in the sense of like he tried to do that move. Like he put his leg out, and I guess you could describe it as a slew foot in a sense of like some people compared the two where, yes, I get that if your arm's going one way, normally when they say a slew foot, you're kind of like making a bit of a kicking motion. But he tried to take his legs out, and I thought it was a little bit dangerous. Now, if it didn't result in a suspension, I wouldn't have been like crying from the mountaintops, in which I didn't. I just thought that if you see that and he's not going to get a game, what happens if someone does that exact same move again? I think we could all agree that move, we don't want to see it again. I get that he's a first-time offender, like he's not a dirty player, he doesn't have a record, but if Matt Rempe did that for the first time, I bet you Rempe would have got 10 games because it was Matt Rempe. So it's just weird now. So if, let's say, Rempe does do that move, what do you do then if you're the league? Because now all of a sudden you got a bigger problem on your hands. So I don't think Chatfield's dirty. I don't necessarily agree with Brindamore and his comments. I know he's just got his boys back. And he was kind of like going after media for making it a bigger deal than it was. Like, I think that like the overall game is what got the reaction from Aho kind of swinging his stick around, catching Wilson in the back of the leg, which is kind of where I think it all started, right? Did you guys watch the full game?
Yeah, I had it on like the kind of the beginning and then put it back on when I saw the madness going on.
So when he did that, Wilson went down, and then when Wilson was on the bench, he kept mouthing the same thing over and over, like he was going to kill someone. So the wires had crossed. Then Carberry goes over and is whispering in his ear, which what I would imagine is saying, hey, calmer heads prevail. We got bigger fish to fry. Like, we're going to see these guys in round 2. Well, Tom Wilson didn't give a fuck.
No, I think there was no point. And it was probably Carberry being like, dude, he could end up taking a 25 gamer here. Like,
I have to see Rafi Torres 2.0 on our hands here. We don't need Tico 2.0 here.
No.
But that scrum happens in front of the net, and then Stankoven, of all guys, was the guy who got him from behind. So then he's going at Stankoven, and then like Dowder's getting in the mix, like Dowder's making faces at guys in the box. Like, it was a full-on clusterfuck gong show. And for that to kind of be at the climax of it, I think that the internet was already erupting as a result of everything that was happening. And that was just the icing on the cake. And that's where kind of basically where the game was at, and the tensions were high, where it didn't feel right. The fact that this guy, McMichael, didn't have his helmet on, and he uses that move. And it looked like he did clip his head a little bit, but that could have been way worse than how it all turned out. So once again, like, I'm not shitting on Carolina fans. I'm not shitting on their organization or Chatfield. I don't think it was like premeditated before the fight had began, but he was clearly trying to pull that move off, executed it to like perfection, and probably should have saw a game just based now how you've set the standard moving forward, because somebody else is now going to do that, and then there's going to be a 3-ring circus on our hands.
I agree with both of you. I think there's no room in the game for that. It's, obviously, Biz, you would know more than me and Whit, like the heat of the battle, things happen. But I think there's also that, the fighter's code where, guys don't do dirty things like that, because there are plenty of opportunities during fights when, guy can take advantage of a guys, and those guys never really do. And I know Chatfield isn't fighting every game. He's a scrappy player, but I think at the end of the day, you got to know what you're doing. And I think he knew what he was doing. I think it was dirty. I think it deserved a fine or a suspension. Probably, maybe if his helmet was on, we wouldn't even be talking about it, because it just looked like it could have been so bad. But
it was more scary to see what could have happened.
100%. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, happy nobody got hurt. And and like I said on Amazon Coast to Coast, like the best part of the NHL is with the fighting is we're able to police it ourselves.
Oh
and
yeah,
you got
And it's
Thuggy
going
Dylan
to.
McElrath, coming in warm ups or during the game. He's going to be wanting and Chatfield. He seems like an honest player. He's going to have to answer the bell, and it's going to be must watch TV on Thursday.
I would, if I was Chatfield, whoever it was, I'd say, yep, let's get it over with and just boom, settle the score right off the hop of the draw. Some people might say McElrath and Chatfield aren't exactly in the same weight class.
But neither is McMichael. He fought McMichael.
I hear you. And I hear you. And some people try to use the example and also send videos of like other situations where a guy is kind of swinging a guy around. And I think that happens a lot more, especially when a guy is kind of already on the way down. It was more about Chatfield kind of establishing leverage on especially the leg that ended up sweeping him and taking him down. Like he wasn't like falling down in the midst of the scrap. Like that was like, I'm going to swing this guy around and use this leg to trip him and throw him off balance. And that's what it was. And hey, man, like that's where I just can't agree with people trying to use it as a comparison of things that are happening all the time.
Well, people were talking about Tom Wilson and what he did with Panarin. And Merles was on game notes like, mess with the bull, get the horns. This is bullshit. Completely exactly what Rod Brindamore then said, which that quote is, the media was the one who made the drama out of it, and they're morons typically. Can't argue with you there, Rod. If you're going to say what happened at the end was anything more than what I've seen 1,000 times before, you don't know what you're talking about. Go look at the game exactly before, the Boston-Detroit game. Two really good heavyweights going at it, and watch how that fight ends. It's a takedown. I'm sorry. Quit making something out of what isn't, because there's not a fair characterization of our player, and that's what bothers me on the whole thing. Do your homework. I love him sticking up for his players. He's got his guys. But I disagree completely that was a normal takedown. And that Tom Wilson on Panarin, argue all you want that Wilson shouldn't be going at Panarin. That was I'm bigger and I'm stronger than you, and I'm going to body slam you down. That happens, no doubt. That is the thousands of takedowns that Brindamore's talking about. This was different in my mind. This was a leg behind and a blatant, like, I'm going to use my leverage and I'm going to slam you down. You have no helmet on. You could be dead. Now, I kind of think it almost could have been 4 or 5 games solely, and I know that sounds like a lot, but then it's like, nobody's doing that again. That is what would have really been like, okay, this is done in the game, because next one will be 10 games.
Yeah,
now,
I thought that the one would have basically said, like, this is not allowed. We get this as a one-off, an example. Nobody got hurt. A warning shot to everybody. Like if this I thought 4 or 5 would have been excessive, because I just don't think that it was in him like that. He was like, I'm going into this fight and I'm going to fucking judo slam him like I'm in Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme right to
like
the ice.
Avery versus Bugsy in a sanctioned jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah.
And I think that it does bring up a bigger question for Carolina, and I don't know what Tom Wilson was saying on the bench, but it was quite obvious he was saying to Aho, who's going to protect you? Who is going to protect you? He just kept saying, who's going to protect you? And
Rod's
I don't know,
Thursday.
because like they have Tom Wilson. I don't know who's going to protect him from him. And they have McElrath, as Keith brought up, who's a heavyweight, a full-blown heavyweight. Carolina, like you look down the lineup, fast team. They've played great since Rantanen's gone, but who is there?
So in that game, I was surprised because Wilson kind of gave a little bit of a cheap shot, like a rib shot to Burns, and Burns went down, and then nothing ended up transpiring of, hey, maybe that was the retaliation from Aho whacking him on the back of the leg on purpose. I don't know, but that happened earlier in the game, and I guess I was just a little bit surprised that Burnsy wouldn't have challenged him. I know Burnsy's not typically a fighter.
That's tough, man.
What do you mean that's tough? Like, fuck. I mean, you're the biggest guy. Like, who would you pick to fight Tom Wilson on that team?
Jackson Blake. Just throw one to the slaughter. Maybe cool him.
He's been
maybe
scoring
cool
goals for
Wilson.
them. He's on their first line right now.
No, he's nasty. I'm saying like he's gonna pump anyone eyes shut. So give him the rookie. Give him the rookie.
Hey, new guy.
Stank dummies him. Carolina goes on to win the cup.
No shit.
I think Burnsy would fight anyone. I think he's strong enough to go anyone.
That's what I'm thinking.
The guy, yeah, he could. I don't think he needs to do it. But yeah, he's probably the most capable guy in that locker room to do it. Yeah, I think you're right on that.
I'll say this. If there was a guy that I knew could beat me up, Jeremy Yablonski, if he would have cheap shot of me the way that Wilson did to Burns when Burns went down, I would have challenged him. I would have done that. I don't think that there's as big of a gap between like strength and like even if you're a guy who doesn't fight, you can kind of hang on and throw a few. And yeah, if it goes nowhere and it's a draw, who cares? It's more about establishing I'm not afraid of you. I don't give a fuck. Oh, you want to give me a cheap shot? So to me, that's where maybe I was a little bit surprised. And then especially with Wilson kind of joshing, like, who's going to protect you? We're going to take advantage of you physically. Like, you're already getting alphaed. And we've been singing the Florida Panthers praise for however long, because same with Vegas. Like, those teams don't get pushed around and bullied. So one thing to maybe look out for.
The only thing, Wilson's so petty, I could see him doing the slew foot to somebody. I could see him slew footing somebody and be like, yeah, no suspension.
He texted me saying Merle's opinion was bullshit. How many L's has fucking Merle's
cannot
taken this
catch
year?
a break right now.
He's on tilt, man.
This guy is on tilt. He just, when you can't, you start pressing. You start pressing for a take that might hit, and then you get even a couple more L's. The Frozen Four might have broken Merle's.
Oh, that was considering they're the college hockey podcast of the bunch on Game Notes, and they didn't get one Final Four representative. And then now, like, that call on that move, and I got NHL guys reaching out to me calling him a donkey. And then on top of it, since the beginning of the year, he's been calling the LA Kings frauds, to finally, when they went 9-1 recently, he was like, yeah, maybe I was wrong about the Kings.
No, I believe now he's saying they're frauds on the road. They are approaching, the Kings are approaching, like, in the cap era, possibly being the worst team in the NHL in 20 years on the road. But at home, they're unbeatable and unstoppable.
They've only lost 4 games in regulation at home.
Pasha's popping in here to the chat saying, or Granelli says Jankowski 6'4", 215. Pasha's saying Martinuk. Maybe Martinuk. Is Martinuk out right now?
Martinuk's a middleweight. He would chuck him.
Tough. He's tough. Now, I think Carolina, I don't think they're a team that you can go in and just be like, we're going to bully the shit out of them. But Thursday night, we will see. Because Washington, they got the goal chase record. That is out the window now. They are now out for blood.
That Duhaime can fucking chuck him too, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's not.
And I don't think Chikrin's afraid. Chikrin's not afraid.
He's the liver king.
Ovi one bang somebody on Carolina a couple of years ago.
Svechnikov, yeah.
I mean,
Russian on Russian crime. I remember that.
Donnybrook.
The thing we didn't mention that is funny about Ovi, we'll throw it to Ryan Strome right after this, but so Rick Dudley was the GM of the Panthers in 2004, and Ovi missed the draft cutoff date by 2 days, apparently, to be an 03 pick, and he ended up being 04 draft. I guess Rick Dudley was nonstop, not just one time, multiple times, pleading to the league that with leap years, if you took leap years into account, Ovi was old enough for the NHL draft in 2003. So they did their damnedest, and the league just kept being like, Rick, enough, stop. We're not counting leap years. Like, the guy is not 18
because Ovi's in 03. I played against him under 18 at the World Championship. Like, you know how you heard about guys like the Crosbys coming up? Like, obviously, we'd heard Ovechkin's name, and the first game of the World Championship in that tournament, they were hosting in Yaroslav, Russia. Like, there was like a ceremony before the game to launch the tournament off. You walked out, and probably 75% of the people in there had like big robe coats on with the Russian hats, and they were there to see fucking Ovi. And we lost 6-3. He had a hat trick, and he was running around killing guys. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is like, this guy's the real fucking deal.
My buddy, that
was my first experience.
My friend Chris Pola, Keith, remember the team you made? USA used to send a team to the summer, whatever, 5 Nations, but it wasn't. Ivan Halenka. It wasn't kids from the national program, like, because they were going to Ann Arbor. So Keith made it. This kid Chris Pola made it, and they went over and they played Russia, and it was Malkin and Ovechkin, and they lost like 10-1, and they both had 5 points, like 6 points, and he's like, what the, like, who are these two people? And he said same thing. Ovi was killing people too. It's like, that was when Ovi
I just wanted the game to be over. I was so intimidated. He's running around hitting guys, scoring on us, and like, you have all these like Russian army dudes in the crowd. They probably have AK-47s underneath their robe coats. Like, I was like, get me home. I fucking, first time I've ever gotten homesick.
I saw a cool story. It was Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. They were playing for the Moscow
Dynamo.
basketball team. Yeah. And they the president of their team was like, "Oh yeah, these are my two sons. This one's pretty good at hockey, blah blah blah." And they were like, 5 years later, we were watching the NHL draft and he got taken first overall. It was Alex's mom was the president of that like WNBA team for over there.
Yeah.
No
she
shit.
played. She won.
Yeah.
I think she won a few or played in a few Olympics.
Olympics,
representing
yeah.
Russia. And
Now
she,
his dad would be
Soccer, right?
soccer player.
Has his dad passed away? I know that's
Yeah, his father passed. He has a stepfather
fuck.
now.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
thinking
And his
thinking of
brother
him
too.
and-
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
When he was
Yeah,
like 10 years old, I thought I saw that. Crazy.
That's crazy. But I remember seeing him in the crowd for so many legendary goals, and then him not being there. It was awesome. His mom was there. I know his wife had her dad there. So just a family affair.
Since we're talking about Russians now, and we're just on the Carolina topic, then this like Nikishkin or like
Nikishkin.
Nikishkin, the Russian defenseman. I guess he's gotten cleared. He's coming over. They're talking about he's the Russian Cale Makar.
He's been incredible. And apparently there was like possible rumors of like a heart issue, and that might have affected where he got drafted. Now, I'm going on a couple things like scouts have told me, so I don't know it all, but
So he got bumped back
I think
based
so.
on if he wouldn't have had that, he would have been a consensus 1 or 2.
I don't know about that. And now maybe those were totally rumors. Maybe he dropped back in the draft with the whole Russian and when can you come over and things like that. But this guy sounds like he's the real deal, like 50, 60 points in the KHL the last 2 years. He was captain of SCA St. Petersburg this season. Now, apparently his contract runs till the end of May. So, like, technically they could not allow him to come, but I'm assuming Carolina's looking to get him over right away and get him in the lineup. There's also rumors. I sent Billy Ryan, a friend of Keith and I's, scout to Montreal, a report that apparently Demidov can come over now too.
Wow.
Now I don't know. In Montreal, I don't think plans on having them.
Which would be sick because, like, I was just going to ask you guys, outside of Leonard, who from watching him, I feel like he can step in and make an impact in playoffs. Like, he is not going to look out of place. He's looked great.
Yeah.
It would be sick because they would more than likely be facing off against Montreal, where you have these two guys who are coming in. So that's fair. He should get the clearance. Or is it more about Russia?
I think it's more about Russia. I also think there's probably an aspect of not really wanting to burn a year off his ELC. Although Montreal in the playoffs and the excitement, I mean, we saw it up there for Four Nations. They're already selling Demidov T-shirts and things like that. So
Really?
you just never know with the Russian craziness on when we'll see Alexander Nikishin, I believe it is, or Demidov in Montreal.
It'd be sick if they both got clearance, because then we're the winner of the fucking newly impacted Player Bowl in Montreal and Washington would then more than likely meet Carolina in the second round. Then you got fucking Nikishkin. Is that how you say it? Nikishkin?
I think it's Nikishin.
Nikishin.
Merles wasn't the one
Nikishin.
who said Nikishkin was good, was he? Because he won't be if Merle said it.
So
No, this guy is legit the
No, I
Russian
know.
Cale Makar.
dude,
With
it's
caviar.
Alexander,
He puts caviar in his water bottle.
Caviar car.
Alexander Nikishin, he's 23 years old. The last 3 years, he's gotten 55, 56, and 46 points, including the last 2 years, 17 goals both years in the KHL. That's crazy numbers for over there, considering you don't get second assists, which is how I made a living.
I'd have 0 points.
So I
What do
can't
you
wait
mean?
to
You
see
don't get second assists in Russia?
So
No.
they're very, very different.
Off a
with
shot,
it,
you don't, right?
Where if I pass it to you and then you give Keith a tap in, I'm probably getting an apple. But if I pass it to you, you rip one on net and he buries the rebound, I'm not getting an assist. And I mean, that's a lot of assists in the NHL. So we'll see. But probably time to throw it over to Dylan Strome. We appreciate him hopping on. Great player, great guy. So let's.
Can I tell you guys one quick crazy story before we throw it off?
I would love a crazy story from you. I mean, considering the last crazy story was a guy jerking off on his billet family's family heirloom blanket.
Yeah, we're not going there. So like sometimes when I'm scrolling on the YouTube, they got like the shorts, like basically like if you would be on TikTok or Instagram, like videos, right? And I find myself fascinated by these baseball ones, like Barry Bonds, like watching an at bat, and then he'll be going over it, and then like Greg Maddux would have been the pitcher. By the way, Maddux, I'm fascinated with this guy. I don't know anything about baseball.
Threw 88 miles an hour and couldn't hit him.
And by the end of his career, he wasn't even like there would be no signals. Like they would just him in the back catcher.
The way he caught it.
The way he caught the ball would tell
yeah.
the catcher what pitch he was going to throw next. Like this guy was like a maniac.
Didn't they call him the professor or something?
Yeah, like the professor. So, but during that era, they had a bunch of good pitchers, and I believe one of them is Schmaltz. What's the first?
John Smoltz.
John Schmaltz, who
There
was another
Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddux on the Braves together.
right, and they're all
John
Hall of
Rocker.
Famers, correct?
Yeah.
So one of these pops up, and I frequently get the Braves, maybe because I'm in Atlanta, or maybe just because those are the most fascinating ones, and like those are the guys who sat down and did the documentary. Anyway, so one pops up, and it's Schmaltz talking about, I think it's Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
Who is just one of the nastiest hitters of all time, like just the natural. And between him and like four other Hall of Fame pitchers,
Pedro, Randy Johnson, Glavine, and Kurt Schilling, I think it is, and Smoltz.
yeah, they'd only struck him out 3 times total
Yeah.
in his entire career. So I'm fascinated watching this video, and I'm like, huh. And I'm right as I'm ready to board the plane when they call zone 1, like I'll walk up and boom, I'm within striking distance. So I'm watching that video, and then I kind of absorb it, and I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. And I look up, and fucking that Schmaltz guy is standing 2 feet away from me. Like, how fucking
Schmaltz.
random is that?
Wait, the video was of John Smoltz talking, and then he
Talking
was standing
about
next to
Tony
you?
Gwynn. And I watch it. I have not seen this guy yet. I'm like, oh, wow, another one of these baseball clips. I watched the whole thing. I'm fascinated by it. I'd never seen one with the Schmaltz guy. Didn't
Call
really,
him Schmaltz again.
It's
Call
fucking
this guy Schmaltz
Smoltz.
again. John
Schmaltz.
It's not
Smoltz.
Nick
There's no
Schmaltz.
CH.
Smoltz. So I look
SMOLTZ.
up, and this fucking guy, Smoltz, is standing 2 feet away from me, ready to board zone 1. And then we end up sitting next to each other. And
He
yeah, I
strikes you
thought
out?
that you. What's
He strikes you out for saying his fucking name wrong
He calls you
9,000 times.
Bichonette the whole flight.
Bo Bichonette? But he's doing Fox baseball now. So I kind of chatted with him for a hot minute. Jans, I thought you said you knew him, but maybe it was a different pitcher who pitched for the Braves.
Glavine.
Oh, dude, I'm like, yeah, you know my buddy Keith Yandel. And he's like, nah, I don't know if I
No,
know.
I know Keith Schmandel, but
You texted
So
me. I thought you
that
know
has
him.
to
I
be
said,
a-
no, I know Glavine.
Oh, fuck. I'm just butchering this
that is
fucking
crazy,
story.
though. That is wild.
Isn't that these phones have to be tracking us or listening to us, or just like that had to have been like a phone thing, right?
Did you tell him
how
that
would
you
the
were
phone
just
know
watching a
he's-
video?
I told
Yeah.
him, but like I felt like he was a bit weirded out, like I was making up
You're
the
like, "Hey,
story just to say
Schmaltzy."
hi to him. I'm like,
You're like,
"Hey,
you're like
Schmaltzy."
Schmaltzy. You don't get it, Schmaltzy. I was just looking at you. He's like, buddy, that ain't my fucking name.
Hey, he
Yeah.
goes and sits a roach.
Yeah. He's like, sir, are you gonna board? He's like, nah, I'm giving up my seat. Fuck this guy.
John Smoltz,
Schmaltz.
such an athlete. The guy played in a U.S. Senior Open for golf too. He's a freak.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe we
Unbelievable.
can get him for a sandbagger.
Yeah, we'll get him for a bagger. There's no chance we'll get him for a bagger because you
Yeah,
just
he's my
called him the
buddy. I'll
wrong name.
text
There's one
him.
of those videos of me getting like carried off the plane. Because I'm like, it's Schmaltzy! It's Schmaltzy! The HS is silent.
He's like,
Anyway.
did
we
you
can
ever
move on.
strike out Tony Schwinn? He's like, this fucking guy. All right, with that, it's time for Dylan Strome.
Dylan Stram.
Guys, Whit here, and I want to talk to you about Aura Frames. Are you ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. It's an amazing Mother's Day gift because all of a sudden you have the chance to not only give them this beautiful frame with wonderful pictures inside, but be able to change the pictures so easy. It's so simple to use Aura frames. It looks phenomenal, and you can change it up as often as you want. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and it's easy to see why. There's unlimited storage, so you can add as many photos, videos, and funny memes as you can find, and it is so simple to set up. Just plug it in and share away. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Chiclets. CHICLETS. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Guys, the NHL season has been predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. And as we get to late April and we're talking playoff matchups, I can't even begin to think where the playoffs will head and what we will see. And that's why right now you need to get involved with DraftKings. All the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The NHL is the fastest game on ice, and you can make it fast with live bets during any game on the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your bet. Or maybe you want to bet on a goal scorer. You like the Maple Leafs, you like Auston Matthews. I think he's going to score tonight. Boom. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your player to score, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Chiclets. That's code Chiclets for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. We are now pleased to be joined by a very special guest. Probably one of the best, maybe top 3, top 5 contracts in the NHL. And the man who's been dishing OV beautiful sauce for a few years now, Dylan Strome. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, guys. Crazy couple days, obviously, as you guys know, but I mean, it's been incredible. I appreciate the kind words. I don't know if it's a good thing to have one of the best contracts in the NHL.
I know. It's a great thing about you, agent. But it's also like, damn it, fuck. I want to be a bad contract.
All good.
So you said crazy couple days, more like a crazy since the beginning of the year run, including Ovi's broken leg. I guess take us through the past week and kind of how it's been going. I know that he just caught fire all of a sudden, scored in 5 straight, and basically been unstoppable the past like 10 days. So what was your thought process leading into before this goal streak started? Did you the entire time believe he'd get it done this year?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll start kind of at the beginning of the year when everyone knew he needed 42 goals to break the record. And then he gets off to such a good start, 15 goals in 18 games. And honestly, when he got hurt the game in Utah, he's coming off of a goal or a hat trick in Vegas the night before. He has 2 goals through 2 periods in Utah, and everyone in the arena and our team is convinced he's getting another hat trick, back-to-back hatties. And then all of a sudden, like the injury happens, and you guys know when you're in a game and someone gets injured, you're just hoping for the best. You know, you see a guy skate off. For him, it was just weird because, he never gets hurt. He's really never been injured, and he tried to take a couple strides on a broken leg, as you guys I'm sure saw the clips, but clearly something was wrong, and got the news right after the game that his leg was broken, and we're all wondering how long, and he's saying right away that he's going to be back at this time and when he's going to be back, and when he was hoping to be back. I guess he was pretty close to the day. I think he was a couple games off, but so when he was at that number, everyone kind of thought that it was going to happen this year, and then he got hurt. And everyone's like, well, he's got another year on his contract, and we'll see what happens. But guy just came back, better than ever, scoring like a machine, like he always has. And then I would really say it started to pick up when we got to Winnipeg, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, maybe, I think it was. And just the crowd and the energy in the building and the cameras and the TSN cameras and everything was going crazy. And scores in Winnipeg to tie it up with like 5 minutes left. The two top teams in the league going at it. And it kind of just picked up from there. And then the last week has just, like I said, been like incredible. Goals in 4 straight games now and 2 goals against Chicago. And I know everyone wanted the hat trick, and a lot of us did too, for sure. But he made it pretty clear he didn't want to score in the empty netter. And then obviously last night happens, and it's just
for a
history.
hat trick at home though. Like what were you thinking in the moment? Were you like, I don't know, this is different?
What I was thinking was, I don't want to be the guy to shoot the puck in the empty net when he's on the ice.
Leonard didn't give a fuck.
Well, he wasn't on
Leonard
the
didn't
ice,
give a
thankfully.
shit.
Thankfully,
Yeah, but he
was
wasn't
not on
out
the
there,
ice.
Biz. He wouldn't go out there.
I know.
It was funny because like when they pulled their goalie, Ovi's jumping on. Like, we know that's happening. And Carbs didn't really call Ovi. And we saw at one point Ovi was about to jump on, and everyone's kind of like looking around, like, is he going to go like right now just to get out there and do this? And then like they call a timeout, and he says, like, he kind of shakes his head and says like, no, he doesn't want it. And we're about to go next, and I'm like, oh, like, do you want this goal? Like, do you want the 895 now? And he wasn't really giving me a straight answer, but he kind of was like, no, like, not really. But like, yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not shooting it if I'm on the ice with you and there's an open net and you could break the all-time record. I am not shooting that puck. I'm going to get booed. I already scored a goal in the game earlier, and I basically, didn't get booed, but the crowd was like, oh, like when he didn't put it in.
They didn't want anybody else shooting the puck.
No.
He wouldn't even be on the ice, and they didn't want guys on the ice shooting the puck. It was crazy.
It was insane, like insane. Like, we get like the warm-up crowd, the rink's almost full in warm-up, especially against that game against Chicago. Like, there's signs everywhere, and the guy's 3 goals away. Like, he's played 1,400 and at that time, 85 games, I guess, 86 games. And he has 35 hat tricks. That's like 4% of his games. And people were just expecting him to have a hat trick that night. And he almost did it too. So it was just, the whole thing was just, incredible. And then last night, like, was there really any doubt it was going to go another game? Like, it seemed like the whole thing was just lined up for it to happen at the right moment. And, to do it on the power play and that shot was just, how do you write it any better?
Wait, the best video still though is him walking in the after party and someone instantly handing him 2 beers.
2 beers made it. The 2 beers thing, I was like, that makes it even cooler. But I got to go.
Bud Light commercial.
I got to quickly go back to Friday night against the Blackhawks because my brother-in-law's over here. I'm like, oh, put on the game. It was like 7-10. He's like, all right. I was like, he might do it tonight. He might do it. The craziest thing was that after Leonard put the empty netter in, he had like 4 chances in the final minute. Like that one shot off of, I forget the goalie's shoulder.
Is it Knight?
That was labeled. Like, you guys must have been, because even after it went 5-3, you're still like, he could still do it now, right? And then he came out guns a-blazing. You must have
sure.
Must have been crazy.
That's what we were all thinking. Like, as soon as we got the empty netter, like we just jumped right on the ice right away. Like, we knew there was going to be at least a couple of chances, and then so like he gets that one chance in the slot. He said it was he gets on me quite a bit that I give him the bobbly passes. Or you've seen him a couple times.
He shoots those better than anyone though.
I try to tell him that. He no one can shoot it when it's on the side quite like he can. And then that one was like perfectly. He caught it like a lacrosse stick, catches it like on his back, and then whips it. And I'm in the, there's a video. I'm in the corner, like hands on my knees, like. How close was that? And then I gave him kind of like a little wobbly backhand sauce for a breakaway. He didn't get a shot on that on the same shift. He kind of took it around
breakaways though.
Oh, and then it was just like off the draw, and then it was like one more through the neutral zone, and you got a shot. And it wasn't meant to be that night, but the crowd, we partied pretty hard that night. We celebrated pretty hard, and you saw the beer shower after the game, so it was cool. We got to do it twice.
Yeah, you got to do 2 sellies. I mean, even in a loss like that, it felt like it was actually perfect that he tied it at home. You still get the 2 goals, the big win, and then they get it done on the road. Were you guys aware of what kind of ceremony they were going to do? Like, did they give you guys the heads up as to how that was going to go? Because from the celebration of like him diving on the ice to like everything that was said on the mic, like it was a storybook ending.
Yeah, we didn't know exactly. Like, we knew there was going to be a ceremony, and his family was going to come on the ice, and Gretzky and Bettman. No clue about the hats or the shirts that kind of came out, and it was kind of like, it was such a weird time of the game too. Like, it was almost exactly the middle of the game, and to have to go play the rest of the game was just, it was bizarre. But yeah, like you said, it was kind of a little bit different because it was a loss, so it took like maybe 5 or 6-7 minutes and after the game until because we originally got in the room and there wasn't like beers in the room, and it was kind of like Ovi was doing like the first star of the game. I guess they gave him all 3 stars and he did an interview, and we were kind of like, we got to celebrate this. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we just celebrated for the tying goal. Like, we've won the cup and we're about to not celebrate when he breaks the record. So the beers finally got in the room and we had to hold him in the hallway for a little bit. And it was a little bit delayed, but once the cameras got in there and once, it took about, like I said, 5 to 7 minutes and the boys were, right back to the same place we were 2 nights before that.
I want to ask just about, I think there's a couple of quotes. Basically, he just like, I eat whatever the fuck I want. Like, he just seems like a freak in the sense of like, maybe almost like a Phil Kessel. Like, he doesn't really care what's going in. He's just like the natural at it. Is that the case? Like, this guy's drinking pop on the bench. Like, is he the one at the card table after every game having a few pops? Is he that old school?
Yeah, I would say he's about as old school as it gets. In every aspect. I mean, he loves sushi. I think I said it last time on the podcast. He loves the sushi. Sushi and beers are his go-to. But I mean, for how much how fun he has, he does take care of his body. He does massages every day, and he really dials it into what he has to do to get ready for the games. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, he's about as, like I said, he's about as old school as it gets when it comes to that kind of stuff.
He's like a Wagyu beef, just massage and beer.
Yeah, rest is a weapon.
Stromer, obviously it looked like he had zero pressure on himself. Like, I know if I needed to do anything in a certain amount of games to get it done, like, I would have been in my head, but it seemed like he didn't have any pressure on himself. But for you, as like a guy who's supposed to be setting him up, was there pressure on you and, guys like Carlson I know you guys you're not just forcing him the puck, but was it like, okay, we got to get this done. We want this over with probably more than he does.
I think it definitely helped that, we know he had another year on his contract. I think if you were to ask me that and this was the last year of his deal, I think it would be a different story. It just seemed inevitable that it was going to happen this year. Like, I don't want to say there was more pressure on anyone on the team. He definitely felt the most pressure. When you pass to Ovi, you're just expecting the puck to go in the net because he's done it so many times and he's put in so many passes from so many different guys. And so I don't think there was any extra pressure on us, during the game. I'd be totally lying to you if I said I wasn't looking for him every single time I got on the ice, especially these last 2 games. Like 100%, I shot one on the power play and it trickled off 4 guys and went in against Chicago, and that was my only shot of the game. And there wasn't really I got to puck in the slot against the Islanders the first period, and my head just went on a swivel. Like, where is this guy? And he's like, I was open right away. I'm like, don't you think I was looking? Like, of course I was looking, and he got a little shot off, but yeah, I wouldn't say there was more pressure on us, just like I said, because the fact that he had another year and he was going to do it at some point, and obviously everyone's happy it was this year and the way it happened.
Was it something being joked about in the locker room and like training camp? Like, would you guys just kind of like continue to bring it up? Because it seems like he almost like didn't want that attention media wise on it. Like, he's such a humble guy, but like, were you guys just like being like friendly banter in the locker room about it nonstop?
I would say once it got down to like 10, then like after each game, like with the beers on the plane, and it was cheers, to the great chase, and however many more to go, and there'd be like a couple jokes like Carlson and I at the card table, like we play 13 up, 13 down. I don't know if you guys played that before, but it goes up from 13 down to 1. So when we're at like 5 cards left, we'd be like 5 left, like 5 to go. And like, he loves it too. Like he wasn't, I don't think in the media he talked about it too much, but when the guys are joking, he's like the biggest, most fun guy in the team. Like, so it's all good. And it was all laughs, and never once was he was like, don't talk about it or anything like that. It was just friendly banter. And there was definitely times of the season like that, we didn't think it was going to happen this year, or, we were kind of thinking like, okay, he's got it. Like, at one point he had like, okay, 22 games left for, 11 goals. And it's like, well, he's on that pace now, but, we're kind of all saying like, okay, just if he gets 1 hat trick and then like we get a couple empty netters here, like it's going to be like, we got this. And that didn't really happen. Like, it was just kind of like 1 game, 1 goal, like 1 game, no goals, and then next game goal. And it was kind of just like, eventually he had 11 games, 6 to go. And then he just went on this streak, and now we got 5 to go and he's done. So incredible.
I love how you bring that up, because as people were talking about the pace, I to myself, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That's if you stay on this 40 goal pace that like he's 39 years old, and then sure as shit, it just kept happening and happening. It's like, of course, this year he ends up having his highest shooting percentage he's had of his career. And I didn't know, like, when he broke his leg, like, first off, the locker room must have just been down in the dumps. After anyone gets injured, it's like the worst feeling as a teammate. But then when he came back, could you tell right away, like, wow, he's not a little slow of foot right now? Like those first few full practice, like when he could have contact, was it like, oh, fuck, he's completely fine?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ovi is like, it doesn't really matter if he's having a great game or not a great game. Like, there's always that chance that he can score. So when he got back, it was kind of just like, when is he going to play? He scored the first game. He came back in Toronto, an empty netter. Scored the next night in Detroit, just after Christmas, literally the next day, in the first period. So it was like, as soon as he came back, he was just the same old guy, same guy that was doing it for the whole year already. And, like I said, kind of last night, I was talking to someone and his like goal slump is like 2 or 3 games. So it's like, you always know there's going to be a way, and he's going to find a way to put one in or put 2 in and go on a little streak. And he's done that the whole year. And I mean, it's been unreal.
I was going to ask
Biz
about
off
the
the ice.
mojo in the locker room. I mean, you guys are also competing for a President's Trophy too. So just an unreal year from the start of the year, getting all these new guys, and like, what's it just been like otherwise outside of even just the chase and like what you guys are preparing for coming when and win the East?
Yeah, I mean, the vibes have been unbelievable. The best I've ever been on a team, 100%. When you get 7 new guys to a team, I mean, there's only 19 guys that play a night with 12, 6, and 1, and we got 7 new guys on the team that play every night. So it was a lot at the beginning of the year, but it kind of just, we lost the first game. We played New Jersey. That was their 4th game, and it was our first game, and we played okay, but it didn't play great. And then we just kind of started, figuring each other out and rattled off a bunch of wins in a row. And you guys have been on good teams before. Once you kind of get that ball rolling and you kind of expect to win, it seems like it just starts coming easy to you and coming easy to the team. And there's plenty of times in the year where we've been down and going into the third, and just that team confidence that, like, we know how to score. We score a ton of goals. It feels like we're never out of a game, which is a great feeling to have for a team. And it's exciting going into this last stretch here and into the playoffs, because I feel like that's what wins you games, is that team confidence. And we've had it all year. The vibes are incredible. New guys have fit in like unbelievably well. And, the whole thing has just been a storybook year so far. And we got a lot left to write, but it's been, hard to describe how good it's been.
I was going to ask you, we said it in the beginning of the year, like, you look like Backstrom out there. Like, is he around the team? Is he a guy that you've talked to at all? Or was he a guy that you watched growing up that you kind of emulate your game after? Because it honestly seems like you're a offspring of him.
Well, I appreciate that's a very, very nice compliment. I actually got to play with him a little bit for like 40 games, I think, in the last couple of years. So just getting to know him through that, obviously watching him a ton growing up and playing a few games against him. But he's around. He's around enough. He's around. He was there last night. He had so much, success with Ovi that you could really tell when Ovi talks about him how much he means to him and how much respect he has for him and how, good of a teammate and a person and a guy he is. So I think just, when Ovi talks about someone in that regard, everyone obviously just respects him a ton. And guys that have played with him before and guys that, barely know him, just, he has that presence to when he walks in the room that, he's a legend. I think I'm almost positive he has over 1,000 assists in his career, which is just insane. So I think just you watch him and you see how he passed Ovi and you see on the power play and you try to learn from it. And I've talked to him a good amount, and he's very supportive every step of the way. So I'm very thankful for him.
It seems like he was around a lot, and then also TJ Oshie was around a lot. Eh?
Yeah, with Tom, and he's like the ultimate glue guy. You guys know him pretty well. Just a great team guy, like a warrior. Like the stuff that guy went through to even play last year was, something that you don't wish upon anyone, really. Just the way he had to, take care of his body and what his body had gone through, and he's around a lot. Like similar to Backstrom, very similar in the sense of how much they're around and what they kind of mean to this team, this organization. And there's a reason why there's a plaque of them jumping into the fountain somewhere in DC, and people really, really, really like those two guys, and it's great to have them around.
So give the listeners and us three a little backstory on how did a band make her dance? How did this begin or maybe you can't go there, but like,
no,
when did this become the thing?
Okay, so I'm sure you've seen the handshakes that we have going out to
Oh
the game.
my God, there's a lot of antics in that hallway.
Biz and I have talked. I don't know how everyone remembers them all.
I feel like TJ Oshie was kind of the one who started it all.
Yeah. I think that just over the years they just started making handshakes, and I don't know, like the chicken parm babe, and then they go like whatever they do with their hands, Carlson hand. But the Bands Maker dance started because I think Chikrin's like first or second game he wore went no helmet on the ice in warm up, and he had the long hair and he wore like a headband.
Oh,
and that's as simple as how it started. He was wearing a headband, and then like I think Obi just looked at him and like just clued in like, and then he just started doing that Bands Maker dance, and then it kind of just went on from there. And then like now there's like 1,000 edits everywhere I look on Instagram and TikTok, and everywhere is Bands Maker dance edits, and they're hilarious. So that's pretty much the backstory.
So that was Ovi just off the top of his dome, seeing this new guy with the band on his head. That's fucking unbelievable, man.
No chance he knows any other words of that song.
Well, did you hear what he says the rest? Like it's some pretty vulgar words in the actual song, and I think he says like, only chicky clap and put your fucking hands or something like that. That is what he says to the end. So
we need an Ovi remix, like in the booth.
Juicy J and Ovi. He's got a rap song, Ovi, in Russian.
He does?
Yeah, that's right.
He's in a rap video. It's sick.
What other shit is he doing like that? Like if he sees something, he relates it to like a North American trend.
The Subway is the big one. I think that he really
Cheetos.
enjoys on the Cheetos, and we joke because we call it like his stish, like his superstition when he walks on the plane, and then he'll like we'll kind of catch him sometime. We're big superstition guys on this team, and we'll catch him sometimes. Like we'll ask him like, okay, what's on the sub today? And Carlson's going down the list of like what he's got on it, like what sauces he's got on it, and then they'd be like, one day is no avocado, one day's avocado, and then we'll think back like, oh, did he score last game? And we're like. Got him. And so just things like that where he's just so fun with everything. Like he's just like a guy's guy. And I mean, there's a billion stories, but I'm sure those will come out.
Let's hear them all.
NHL is the only league in the world where a guy can be going for the goal record and his teammates are just giving him shit every day about his subs. And it's it just shows you how humble, even the superstars are. It's amazing to see.
It's awesome.
Now, Carberry, like we've talked all this year, even last year, like his presence in the locker room is incredible. And I know a lot of that has to go this year with how much you guys are winning, but it seems like he's a great public speaker. He kind of demands respect and attention the way he talks, but he's done a phenomenal job by all looks of it and basically getting you guys to buy in. And I didn't know if before the year, you made the playoffs last year, but it was a tough exit. Like, what did he say was kind of the message for the team this year? Like, why were things going to be so different besides the new personnel who came in?
I think from the first day of training camp, it was about scoring goals. We were 30th, I think, in the league last year about scoring in goal scoring. And it was how are we going to score more goals? And we had games where, I would say 60% of the time we were great defensively last year. And so I think he always believed that, we could still be that good defensive team. And, like I said, it was kind of just like we talked so much about, how we got to get to the net more. How are we going to be, our power play's got to be better. How are we going to score more goals? And right from the beginning, we found a way to do that right off the hop. And kind of like I said, he kind of just instilled that confidence in us, that team chemistry and that team confidence to that we know that we can score goals. We can put up 5, 6, 7 in a game. And I think the good thing about our team is we can kind of play both ways. Like we've won plenty of games where it's been 2-1 or 3-2 or 1-0. We beat Ottawa in overtime. And so games like that where we're kind of grinding out wins and playing the right way, he's really good at, keeping us patient on the bench. Like if it's a tight game, teams play differently, but if he sees, a team that, we struggle against or they're great defensively, just stay patient. We're going to get our chances to score. We're going to we're going to play good defensively, and it might be with 5 minutes left or 6 minutes left or 2 minutes left, but we're going to get one. And I think that's just been instilled the whole year.
That's awesome.
To go from that to most goals in the league is crazy, though.
Well, I don't think anyone could have expected that for sure. And I'd go as far as say I don't think the staff or the management expected that either. But yeah, like when you get on a roll, you just got to keep rolling it, and we've been doing that.
What was the greatest thing about that whole celebration? Was it like having Wayne in the locker room? Like, what was the one thing that really blew out of your water that you took from it?
When Ovi does his speeches after he gets something like that, and he doesn't even really have the words to say it because he's just so humble and so like thankful of everyone around him and the guys that he played with before us and us. And I would say just when we got in the room and it was kind of a little bit, down in the dumps, and we were kind of like, we got to turn this thing around, and Ovi walks in the room and the beer shower starts, and the beers just start flowing, and things just seem easier, and you don't really understand the fathom of like what just happened. And we were in shock. Like everyone was like in shock. It was, we still had to play 32 minutes of the game against the Islanders. And so I would say probably when he spoke after the game in the room, just like you're kind of just sitting there drinking a beer, just listening to the greatest goal scorer of all time talk with Gretzky and Bettman, and so many people in the room that it was just it was incredible.
That's so sick.
Just getting off Ovi a little bit. I saw something awesome on the internet. A couple weeks ago, you surprising your daughter at the at a school dance or whatever it was, dressed up as a prince. That was unbelievable. Who came up with that idea?
Yeah, that was my wife for sure. My daughter loves princesses, like I'm sure most 4-year-old girls do. And we had a party a couple days before Van Riemsdyk's son had a birthday party, and a lot of the guys were there. My 4-year-old was going around telling everyone, all the guys, that she wanted them all in suits for the birthday party, for the princess party, because there's going to be princesses there, so the boys got to be in suits. And so a few guys showed up in suits, and then my wife asked her if she wanted me to wear that Prince Charming costume or a suit, and of course she picked the Prince Charming costume. So we came right after practice, and I surprised her, and it was a pretty cute video. She was pretty happy with me, so it was good.
That's awesome.
So I live in Boston, so I've watched Ryan Leonard the last 2 years, and even last year, I was like, this kid's gonna step right into the NHL. But I'm kind of more curious about the first night he had as a pro, when the pictures come out of Ovi with him at Circle Tavern, whatever the name of the place is, on BC's campus. Like, did Ovi say to him, "Hey, let's go for a beer. I want to see your school"? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that was kind of just we 6 of us went out for dinner with Leonard that night when he signed, when we just got to Boston, and we were kind of just having some sushi and some beers, and Ovi was there, and we kind of just got talking, and he's like, well, someone said, I think, what are your boys doing tonight? And they had just lost. He's like, well, they're going to this this bar, and I think, I don't know if it was Ovi or Carlson, but someone was like, let's go, and then Carlson said yes, and then I was like, yeah, let's go, and Chikrin was like, all right, I'm in. And Leonard was like, are you guys serious, kind of thing? And we got there, and there was no one in the whole place when we first got there. It was just like a little bar called The Circle in Boston, on Boston College's campus. And we walked in, there was nobody there, just us 5. And sure enough, the team started filtering in, and had a couple of beers before the game. And the funny thing about that video was, like, I was ready. I thought we were leaving. And like the place started to get a little bit crazy. It wasn't too late. It was only like 9 or maybe 8:30 or 8:45, and the place started filling in with people. And I'm about to leave, like walking out, and all I hear is this Bands Make Your Dance come on. And sure enough, like 400, but like 50 phones start going up, and just Strome and Chikrin and Ovi are dancing and doing the thing. And that's kind of where that whole thing came about. But it was low key. I think the people maybe thought it was a little bit crazier than it was, but that video was pretty good.
Is all mayhem going to break out on Thursday?
I have no clue. I mean, I think it's going to be electric.
That's your
building.
Game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Send Dylan McElrath out.
I thought you were talking about, because I don't know what's going to happen with Ovi, like if there's going to be a celebration or something.
There'll be a celebration, and then all hell's going to break loose with
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. It was a little bit of a wild game the other night. We were down pretty bad. They got us pretty good. That rink is, you guys know that rink's
worst
on a back-to-back, especially that rink's tough to play in, and they got us pretty good. So
They still got that away locker room there. Like
they upgraded it like the slightest amount, but it's still there. Yeah,
put up a little bit more drywall.
Yeah, well now, like, you know how you go all the way down the hallway. Like all the way down the hallway, that's now the trainer's room in there. So like all the way past the showers. So like the room is still the same, and then there's like a trainer's room and like a change stall room. So it's a little bit bigger, I guess, but it's still not great.
We got robbed there one night.
Come on.
Yeah, by one of the ushers.
You had 50
came down
shots
and like
on net and didn't score.
Stole a couple watches from guys and credit cards.
No.
It was bad. Yeah.
Really?
No, that was me.
Yeah.
Biz, he was still on the team.
I lost a few hundo on the plane.
Biz was taking on everyone's per diem pack.
Well, Stromer, I guess we got the last question presented by Roback. Use code Chiclets on roback.com for generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of the week. That's CHICLETS on RHOBACK SpittInChiclets.com, 20% off all hoodies, joggers, and more with the code Chiclets. I don't want to get you in trouble in terms of any quotes for the other team, but that Chatfield takedown figure 4 leg lock of Connor McMichael, I mean, did you agree with my take that it's kind of not really in the realm of what I think fighting is in the NHL?
In the moment, like I was in the box actually watching it, and you don't really, I kind of heard about it, after the game, after the fact, and kind of like saw the video and stuff. Obviously I'm boys with McMichael and we're tight, and you never want to see a guy hit his head on the ice, and I don't think Chatfield's ever been suspended, so you don't want to say that he did it on purpose and he threw him down. It looked bad for sure. Hockey fights are dangerous, and I would say if it happens again, it's a concern.
Okay.
But it is what it is. It happened. You never want to see that happen. You don't want our guys doing that to their guys. You don't want their guys doing that to our guys. It's just one of those things that happen, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. It's dangerous, and I don't think there was any, intent to smash his head on the ice. I don't think anyone's trying to do that. But the takedown happened, and the results on social media were what they were, and we play them on Thursday, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like you said,
I know what's going to happen.
Well,
McElrath was foaming at the mouth on the bench, yelling at him.
Wilson's like, who's going to protect you?
What did Wilson keep mouthing? Like, I promise you, or something like that. I promise, I'm going to get you. I promise.
I'm going to assist on OV's 895th.
Hey, unreal politically correct answer by you two.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Right
That was
down the
tough question.
Honestly, Strome, I know. Sorry about that, putting you on the spot. And as a hockey fan, dude, to see what you've gone through from not being qualified by Chicago to become a true number one center and be in the midst of this amazing historic moment in the NHL, I'm really happy for you, dude. So good luck in the playoffs, and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, see you, buddy.
Good luck, Stromer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dylan Strome. Awesome to hear how much that meant to that entire team and organization and what they went through and being one unit chasing down greatness for Ovi. So that was cool. We appreciate him coming on. Jans, you are at Augusta National, correct? Not on the grounds right now, but this will be
joined
your
the
first
cult.
time.
Yeah, I wish.
He's gonna kill a squirrel.
Just landed a couple hours ago at beautiful rental house. My buddy Frank got for us. I'm here for the week. Gonna check out the Masters for the first time ever. Playing around at what did I say the course was called? Whit?
Sage Valley.
Sage Valley. I heard.
So
that's
you've never
amazing,
walked
too.
the grounds or been there. This will be your first experience. Whit, you've done it, right?
I've done it twice, and I want to go back every year, but it's kind of like a every 5-year thing I'm going to try to hold myself to. And it's fucking, I know I talked about this before. It's nuts when you get there. I'm talking elevation changes that you would have zero clue watching on TV. Up and down. It's got to be an impossible walk. It's like 7,700 yards. And it's just beauty. You don't see a weed anywhere.
I saw a text thread or a tweet thread, excuse me, of how it used to look compared to now and how it's evolved and all the trees have grown out and stuff like that. So it's kind of grown on me a little bit. I guess I'd play it if you guys got invited, but maybe not just go to watch and walk it to watch other play it.
I'm pretty sure it's got
there
like
too, Biz.
There's what?
No phones, so you wouldn't. You're out.
Yeah, I heard
Done.
that. That's kind of Bush League.
Biz, like the first hour is having like a complete mental breakdown. Then all of a sudden, like as the second hour hits, he's like a genius. He has all these vocabulary words that we were like, what the hell? It's just like an hour away from his phone.
Is it refreshing being off the hammer there?
Yes, it is. It's
Engage
like it is weird at the beginning. Which is so pathetic to say, but I think everyone would agree. You lose your phone, you're checking your pocket all the time, or you don't have it. But then after an hour, you're like, this is just. And the prices. I mean, dude, I think like beers are $5, sandwiches are $1. It's crazy, like that It's like it's taking a step back in time. It's like hopping in a time machine. And you're back in the 50s. I saw that thread too. I think Justin Thomas was the one who retweeted it and said, oh, this is really cool. You see how every hole's changed. But I was saying on the Unnamed show to Portnoy, like even non-golfers, I think Masters Week, everyone tunes in. It's just like the beginning of spring up north and the excitement of the first major on the golf season. And the storylines are wild. I mean, Rory being the biggest one. Like, can this guy get the career Grand Slam? I can't wait to see.
How did it get its prestige? Like, how did it even begin?
Oh, that's a great
and
question.
it's obviously the only major where it's played at the same course every year, right? All other three move?
All other three move every season. I don't know, Bobby Jones, like one of the greatest golfers ever, who was always an amateur too. He like never turned pro. I think back in the day, like amateur golfers, it was like that's what you did. You never like it was like white trash to turn pro. And so he was like this legend from Atlanta. And then I don't know how I probably should know, and I've definitely read it before, but right now I can't think of like the beginning of the tournament and the course. And then I mean it's gone to now, I mean, they're buying up like land and just like lengthening holes. It's like, I can't imagine the money they make. The coolest part is the pro shop. You go in there, it's like the size of a Walmart, and then you can just mail everything home. It's so seamless. Even the lines. I think when you'll see Keith, you're in the bathroom and the guy's like, 2 shakes, give it 2 shakes, keep on moving. It's just like, Biz, you talk about Houston's being like military style. Augusta National, there's no fucking around.
What is the significance of the green jacket? Why did that start?
That's what members have. If you're a member, you have a green jacket. And
That's
then
called
I always thought if you won the tournament, you became a member. That is not the case. I was incorrect on that. They kind of pick certain winners of the tournament that they then give memberships to. I heard recently like Peyton and Eli Manning became members. So that's kind of a feather in their cap to be
So how many members do you think they have there?
They keep it under 300, right?
I was going to say 250. Yeah, I'm sure it's like right around.
So no one's really ever playing it?
You're not really allowed to. Like, that's part of it. Like, you are not going to be there that often. It's like you come maybe, I don't know.
Oh, so there's nobody going for like a round a week?
It's not even open like majority of the year, right, Whit?
It closes, I think, a month after the Masters, if not sooner, and then opens up around October.
What do they charge you for an initiation fee if you can't play it all the time?
Buddy, if you think I know the answer to that, then I couldn't tell you. Like, it could be like $100. I don't even think it matters. I don't even know. I think all of a sudden, like, you're in bed in the middle of the night, some guy's standing over your bed with a green jacket. Like, congratulations.
ChatGPT says initiation fees are rumored to be around $40,000 to $50,000 with relatively low annual dues below $10,000.
Yeah, because it's probably all paid for, and you know.
I can't wait to hear what you think, though, Keith.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Brings us back in because every year around the Masters, I'm kind of at my happiest because I know playoff hockey's coming, and everyone this season. I mean, 4 nations, just the top exploded on the game of hockey. Then you got Crosby breaking Gretzky's record of over point per game seasons. Then you got Ovi smashing the goal record. Poor Wayno, he's just losing records here and there. I think he still has like 58 others, but we are into playoff hockey. That's the spring. And it seems, I don't know if anyone saw this coming, it seems with about 6 to 7 games to go, some teams have less, the brackets are set. Maybe not who's playing who, but the 8 teams in each conferences.
Not if Florida keeps fucking
so Biz, I saw you with the you had the tinfoil hat on, TNT. You are now under the impression Florida wants Toronto.
What do you think? No, what do you think? You know what my opinion is.
Right now Florida's missing Barkov, Kachuk, Forsling, Reinhart, Bennett, and I don't know what they could do to get it done. Ekblad.
They got $49 million in the press box.
You think they want you guys?
I think that they're resting their horses, knowing that I don't care who we play. And if he's thinking, hey, let's get our horses back healthy and fresh, why wouldn't we go against a vulnerable team that you know, in the first round that have had their issues in the past? Why wouldn't we just try to go for the head of the snake now and see if we can get them being mental midgets, put them on their heels, and then next thing you know, we're out in 5. So I don't know. Maybe that's what their tactic is. I'm not saying that could happen. I'm just saying that from a Leafs fan perspective, I don't want to play Florida in the first round. I want the Battle of Ontario. I want to play a very good Ottawa team who I have a lot of respect for. They got great goaltending who's been saving their bacon lately. I think they have I think they have a back end that the Leafs could take advantage of. I don't think they're anywhere near defensively outside of Sanderson than what Florida is. I think they have a great forward group. I think Gaudette was on the fourth line center role the other night. He's got 17 goals on the season, so they could put the puck to the back of the net. And I'm not denying that.
To be clear, you want Ottawa because you have a
100%.
better chance of beating them.
I like that as a warm-up series.
This is scared biz.
This is scared. This is
No,
scared.
This is scared busy
off.
boy.
I'm thinking, boys, if you win the fucking division, you want to have a little bit of an easier path, correct? I think a little bit of an easier path, an energy that we could save ourselves if we had to play Florida in the second round. And another thing, too, I'd much rather see if you have to play Florida, them obviously play Tampa first, because I think Tampa's playing unbelievable right now.
Tampa might be the best team.
I want those two teams to beat the fucking wheels off each other, and I want Toronto to play an inexperienced playoff team in Ottawa, who they've had their number in the past. And people are going to say, oh, that's fucking 15, 20 years ago we're talking about. I don't give a fuck. You guys kept waving that in my face when it was the Boston fucking Bruins all the way back to when the last time they won the Stanley Cup.
Well, I know, but the Bruins dusted the Leafs like recently.
I'm not fucking scared, Jans. I'm talking
Yeah, you
as
are.
if I'm not in that locker room. I'm saying,
Hey, you're not rattled, man. You're not rattled. Can't
I'm
tell
talking
at
from a
all.
Hey, you know what I would do if I was Craig Berube though?
What?
To combat that, I'd say fuck it. Yeah, maybe we will meet in the first round. I'm gonna rest my horses too, and I would just rest all the horses. Fucking,
Okay.
You want to play that game, Paul Maurice? Oh yeah, Billy Zito, Billy Z boy. You want some of this shit? I could fucking rest my horses too, motherfucker. Bring it
Now,
on. And they're going to
I
be coming up
agree
to
with
Toronto
you.
to start.
At the end of the day, if you're gonna win a Stanley Cup, you gotta beat these good teams anyway.
Bro,
so
I
why
had
not
fucking,
try?
hey, did you win a cup? I had Bobby Holik on here telling me that rest in every game's important. I don't want them going to fucking 7 games with Florida in the first round to beat them.
It won't
want
go
them
to
to beat
it won't
Ottawa
go
in
to
5 or
7. It'll go to
6.
5.
I want to beat Ottawa in 5 or 6. We're going to take it. We're going to fucking roast that back end. Like all you Ottawa fans, we're using this as clickbait. You think fucking Berube gives a fuck about your clickbait bullshit? No, they're going to beat Ottawa in 5. Maybe we'll give you 6 games. And then you're going to get a wounded Tampa or Florida coming back at you in round 2. This is what has to happen for the Leafs to get over the hump. I've already fucking thought about it in my brain. The Battle of Ontario and the Battle of Florida is what everybody wants. So let's just stick to the script and stop with this fuckery that is putting $49 million in the press box for Florida and tanking. I don't want to see it.
Biz, I think that you are severely underestimating Ottawa and like what Brady Tkachuk will do to you guys. Like you think Florida's going to be
he's not even in the lineup right now.
Yeah, buddy. That's because they're making sure he's ready to rip come April 18th. And
You think
Biz,
he's not hungry for some
Biz,
playoff
You don't.
win?
Okay. So wait, listen. As much respect as I have for Brady Tkachuk, the way that the Leafs have built their roster, they're not afraid of Florida anymore. They'll engage in all that
You are.
shit. They don't give a fuck. What do you?
You
what?
are, so everyone else must be.
What do you mean?
Biz,
You're
Florida is
scared of
going to just
Florida.
manhandle the Leafs physically. With
Yes,
their health.
I'm saying is I don't want to play them in the first round. I don't want to play a Stanley Cup contender in the first round. Nobody on this fucking Zoom right now believes that Ottawa is a cup contender. So what are we talking? I'm not underestimating anything. The season played out. They got a good offense.
I think Ottawa can inflict some pain, though. I wouldn't want to play them first round. Like they're a
Imagine
team
Cousins running around, dude.
They're gonna be
Dylan
mean.
Cousins.
They're gonna be hungry. Their crowd is
Nick.
gonna be.
They got a lot of cousins on that team.
And Dylan Cousins will fucking run around. Biz,
Bro.
I hear you though, and I'm with you because I need the Battle of Ontario and I need the Battle
Thank
of
you.
Florida.
Yeah,
And that
I
is
like
how
that
it was
too.
supposed to go. So right now, Ottawa is just on this. They've won 3 in a row, I think. And then Florida, everyone's injured. So I'm with you. I don't want it to shake out the way
'Cause
it's
you know what
looking
would
like it
happen?
could shake out.
Is it would go to 7, it would go to overtime, and then Brad Marchand would slide at 5-hole. And I'd have to fucking interview that asshole post game on TNT, and then he'd put me in another goddamn headlock, which will probably be shaved at that point, given how much he's going after my bowl cut.
It looks like you got a haircut with the tinfoil on your head the other night.
I know.
I want those two. I want the province and the state battles. I gotta be completely honest here. I don't need a Tampa Ottawa first round. As much as Florida Toronto gets me going, Tampa Ottawa, like, I don't know. Ottawa finally back in the mix against Toronto is just a storyline that is so much bigger and better than Tampa and them. But Tampa is a problem. I mean, we talked to Strome about how many goals Washington has. Number 2 in the league is Tampa. And Vasilevsky looks like he used to. And I don't know. They're like, they actually would be the big winners possibly, because I do believe they'd take care of Ottawa. I feel like you could too. But then all of a sudden they get to play whoever comes out of you in Florida, and you're both kicked to shit. So, yeah, that would be a huge win for Tampa, I think. Out west, out east, sorry, quickly. Montreal, what a fucking story this is. They've won 5 games in a row. They have Lane Hudson, who, like, I don't know, what can you keep saying about this kid?
He's got the Calder.
He's got the Calder locked up. They won 2-1 on Sunday, and they were down 1-0. They didn't look great, and then he makes this like ridiculous little quick move inside the offensive blue line, fires it over to Line, who snipes one. Caulfield earlier had tied it with his 36th of the year. I think another Suzuki point there. So Suzuki's looked incredible, and Montreal, it's just wild to see. They started the year, boys, 4-9-2. I mean, that is like, okay, there's not much expectation with this team, and we suck through the first 15 games of the year, and I don't think anyone, even Canadiens fans, saw what would end up happening the rest of this season.
No.
So Martin St. Louis should be in the running for Coach of the Year. Lane Hudson is pretty much locked up Rookie of the Year, Calder Trophy, and it's a fun team to watch play.
That's the worst trophy now going. I feel like 4 or 5 coaches get snubbed every year.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Well, and they get fired if they win it.
Yeah, like you're telling me Arneal doesn't deserve consideration. Carberry, the list goes. St. Louis, nobody expected Montreal really to get in. Like, he should be up for it. Like, it's like the list goes on and on and on. Like, I'm drawing a blank on Columbus. I mean, they're not going to get in, but if they did sneak in somehow,
Everson was up there the whole season.
So perfect time to mention this. So we love doing the playoff previews. We give our opinions. We get roasted for them. We're going to break it up a little bit. Next week will be the first week we're coming at you 2 times. So we're going to come at you Tuesday next week and then Friday again. And when it looks like one of the conferences is obviously more locked in than the next, which will probably be starting with the East, and as far as the matchups being for sure locked in, we will drop one of them on Tuesday. So it could be the East, could be the West. And then the following pod on Friday, it will drop. We'll do the other conference. And then obviously on that Saturday is when it all begins. Like TNT, we're doing our first night of coverage. And then we actually get 3 days off, kind of like last year where ESPN will take it. And then after that, TNT's back off and running, and just kind of the rotation continues. And as you guys know, TNT has the finals. But for the first 4 weeks of playoffs, we'll be coming at you with 2 pods a week. And then in weeks 2, 3, and 4, it will be a Monday, Friday drop. And also game notes will be every Wednesday. So we're going to be coming at you guys in waves, right? Like, we want to be the top of mind, fresh topics, especially when there's the first 2 rounds, when there's all those series and all that hockey being played, kind of like March Madness. We're going to be coming at you. And by the time the conference finals begins, we'll be back to 1 a week. And, at that point, it seems like only majority of the fan bases who are still involved are that engaged. So we don't want to be like overloading you with too much. So I think it's a great schedule. I'm fired up for it. We won't be dropping guests like long form guests on those pods, but we will probably be having like insiders and people who are really dialed into what their series are. Like, if Vegas is making a little bit of a run and they're making some noise, we'll get Gary Lawless on, or maybe we get Strudwick from Edmonton. So we want to kind of keep the people who have the heartbeat and the pulse of what's going on in each series, as well as us and a few of our inner circle guys coming in on twice a week, as long with game notes on the YouTube channel. So I've been long-winded, but I think I did a pretty good job of breaking down how we're coming at you. Playoffs, we're fucking revved up here. There's a lot going on, man. We might have Ronton's revenge series in the West, but now with Dallas playing the way that they're playing, they might catch Winnipeg. Like, this is there's a lot of fucking big implications that are coming about, especially with the fact that Minnie's sliding a little bit, and then you have St. Louis. I mean, franchise record 12 in a row, guys. I think they play tonight or tomorrow for 13. It's fucking nuts.
It's crazy. 2 of the wins against Colorado, too, who's been looking just phenomenal since the deadline. I think that race to not have to play Colorado, like Winnipeg, they don't want that smoke again. Like, for anything, Jets fans are like, just keep us away from them for one round at least, right? We have to hold on and win this division. And then, right, you're going to get Minnesota or Calgary. You should be able to take care of them if you're Winnipeg, right? I would hope so. That would be just a colossal fuck up if they end up losing one of those teams. Minnie has a 6-point lead on Calgary. Calgary does have 2 games in hand, and they play Friday night this week. That could be an enormous game if Minnie can get things on the rails here. I'm sorry, if Minnie can get things on the rails and Calgary can keep winning, that would be kind of exciting, but that's going to be a tough one. Biz, I do love the one thing about Monday and Fridays. Game notes will be live, as always, on Wednesdays, but Monday and Fridays, we're going to actually record around 8 a.m., hopefully have it out about 11 to noon that Monday and Friday, just because Biz is on TV for the post-game shows till around 1:30, if that's with no overtime of the West Coast games. So it's really difficult to come back and do that. So he's still going to be grinding for us.
There will be some cases where we do get it out in the morning because there wasn't much the night before. Like, there will be a few times, though, like Whit just said, by the Monday or the Friday, we kind of tested this this whole system when we were doing the Four Nations with recording at 8 a.m. and then it's not that long of a pod because we're keeping top of mind twice a week, where Fishy's able to edit it and get it out within a couple hours. So usually by noon, as Whit mentioned. But Whit, I mean, you can keep talking and talking and talking. I don't think I heard Edmonton one time here.
Hey.
What's going on?
We got to get everyone healthy. Skinner's skating full equipment. He's taking shots from Ekholm and Kane, 2 very key players who are injured. McDavid is out. Leon is out. So, yes, LA, 3-0 win over the weekend in LA where they're unbeatable. That was not the Edmonton Oilers. Like, listen, if everyone comes back, and specifically if we get home ice against LA somehow, I'm not worried. If we are like talking about Ekholm being really banged up and I don't know what's going on with Kane and Skinner isn't healthy, like maybe it's just not the year. I'm not prepared to say, Biz, what I truly feel until we get true health breakdowns. Not that we'll get breakdowns, but health updates in our first game of the first round's lineup, okay?
You think you can catch LA for home ice?
You never know. Probably not, but you never know. And even if we don't, we just got to win one of those first 2 games on the road. On the road, on the road.
Where's your confidence level at from a percentage standpoint? If they're going on the road, start that series.
If we have Kane, McDavid, Draisaitl, Ekholm, and Skinner in net, I'm very confident still. Not as confident as last year where I was.
Can I get a number? Like a 60-40?
I was gonna say 80-20.
Whoa.
Last year was legitimately like 100-0, but this year, LA's different. Byfield's taken another step. Kemper's been awesome, but it's still just like you don't have 2 players like we have, and in a series that I keep saying it, like you cannot match up offensively with us, and you're gonna have to win every single home game, which I think we can get one of them. So. I don't know. What really kind of
Do you think Leon's is serious?
I thought no, and then he gets hurt again after he comes back and basically carries the team on their back to beat Calgary and scores 50th of the year and his 51st in overtime. But then to go out again, it's like fuck. Sometimes we talk about OVI's goals, like injuries and luck is half this battle. And right now, it seems the whole season, that's the problem for me as an Oilers fan, is never once, besides that 6-week run in November, whenever it was, has this year seemed like stable with the Oilers. Like it's just been up and down and slumps, and McDavid didn't look like himself, and then he plays 10 minutes after they won the game against USA in Boston when I kind of wanted him to rest a little, but. Right now, they're not playing. They're resting. Granted, it's because of injuries. Let's just hope they all come back healthy. Ekholm is just as he's not as important as the other 2, obviously, but You
No,
need a
he's
healthy
important.
Ekholm. He's their
in
guy,
playoffs.
dude.
Yeah.
He's their horse. So
See, I'd be more worried about rust with Ekholm and Kane. Like McDavid, obviously, he there's no rust in that guy's game. He could sit out for 2 years and come back and be amazing. But those other guys, like not playing, a lot of the year, it's tough to come back and your first game's a first round matchup against LA Kings on the road. It's the rust.
Yeah.
The rust could be an issue for you guys, which would suck too, because at the end of the day, when especially the first round, you want to see two healthy teams playing and the best teams win. And, that series, we might not see it, but, I think they're going to have their hands cut out for them.
yeah, you're going in banged up. It's like you got no chance to win it all.
Moral of the
Forget
story,
it.
worry about yourself, bud. Don't worry about my fucking
Biz,
Leafs.
you got to agree with me that it sucks for Dylan Holloway to see that injury, man. Because the way this guy's playing.
What came out, though, he could be ready to go for playoffs, no?
Nothing has come out yet. I think Elliot mentioned that like he's maybe not hearing like great things.
No.
That guy's all dialed in, but it's just more like, oh fuck, to see this kid on the run like this, and then to have it be a knee where it looked like MCL-ish type. That's
what I thought it was. I mean,
You said that
I don't
right
mind
away, Biz.
speculating on here. It looked like it opened up on the inside, and I've done it before, and you just hope it's not ACL. Then you're fucking 6 months, 8 months
Then you're
down the
done,
road
so.
here.
Taking
Unless
a
you're
break from
OVI.
hockey, Biz, the man of the hour on YouTube, another new show for Biz away from the game. That's Peakin with Donnie. I mean, explain to us how this kind of came about. Besides your love of hiking, and then how you two decided to team up together. I watched the first episode.
Why do you say
Everyone could check
love of hiking? Like, why'd you
because
say
you
it like that?
fucking
Because you
love
talk
hiking,
about it
bro.
all the time.
You talk about hiking more than I talk about golf.
That's
the
true.
fuck
That's true.
Out of here.
That's
Get
true.
Since
Outta
third
here.
kid, I don't
Put
even
up a
play
poll.
golf, and you're just
Put up
still
a poll.
hiking up Camelback.
Oh, like in the
The
group
gross
chat, you mean?
grind.
Yeah, I'll like send it out. Hey, you got a good one in today, boys. Look at the sunset.
Leave me alone. I'm hiking.
All right, I'm trying to get away from my phone here, guy. But Peakin, great name for the show. That Donnie and Corey thought of that. Buddy, Donnie's one of the most interesting guys at Barstool. He's lived all around the world. I think he lived in China for a few years. He's hiked a lot of amazing places, and he posts his videos. So he just seems it's like such an intriguing guy and a guy who'd be a fun guy to go on a hike with. So I saw him posting videos of him going to base camp for Mount Everest. So I was asking him like, why'd you never hike the rest? And then I didn't realize it's $100,000 to do it. And it takes about 3 weeks to get to the top of Everest. You have to go up, go down. So just from engaging a conversation with him via text, we kind of came up with the idea like, hey, maybe doing like a hiking show would be a good time where we go and take some drugs and hike a cool hike. This one was in a national park. I didn't realize that until we were done. No, buddy, it was kind of just an idea that came to be, and we filmed our pilot episode, and it just dropped on YouTube, and it was a blast. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, what your thoughts were, but that's kind of going to be what the premise of the show is. And we're going to go on all these different adventures where we take in the place around us where we go. Like in this case, it was Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend staying there very long. Kind of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, like Disney World with like kind of like crackhead Disney World, I guess. So, a lot of mini putts, laser tag, this junk here, junk there. We did micro wrestling, which is midget wrestling, but you can't say midget anymore, so it's micro wrestling. And we just went on this crazy adventure, hiked the top to Mount LeConte. And yeah, it was the most biodiverse national park. Like it has the most vegetation based on like everything it has to offer all the way up to its peak based on like the moisture and blah, blah, blah. So it was cool. It was fun. Check it out.
All right. Well, we're going to throw it over right now to the Wonton Don because we got to chat with him about his thoughts on peaking, his career at
What were your
Barstool.
thoughts? What did you have any questions to ask me? Or do you want to save it for
No,
Donnie?
he was just so mangled. I kind of wanted to talk to him a little bit by the end, and his Scooby snacks and your guys' drug use on your healthy hike, that I was like, oh my God, this guy can't stop laughing. But I didn't know how like difficult it was. Like I guess you're this professional hiker who's worked
I
out
wouldn't say
15
I'm a
times
professional
day.
hiker.
Were you like dying by the end of this?
No,
it
was a nice workout. It was an 11-mile hike, 5.5 up, which was
that's
great
no joke.
elevation. Yeah, it was an 8-hour day. So it took about probably 5 hours to hike to the top. Obviously quicker on the way back, but no, it's a good day's work, and I like that. It's a good day to get off your phone. You just got to pack some food. Beautiful nature scenes. Sometimes you run into wildlife, but for me, it's more about just kind of being in the present and getting out of the madness, and that's kind of why I gravitate towards it. I mean, look what we do for a living. So it's just a lot of technology, a lot of being on, like even throughout the course of an NHL season, like remembering like, oh, who the leading scorer is, what this guy's doing, what this team's doing, who's playing who, like just your fucking brain becomes mush, and like getting out in nature kind of helps me kind of get a little bit of a reset. So that's why I did it. And the fact that this thing is going to take us to all these wonderful places that I would have never otherwise seen. Like I hope to maybe by the end of this, maybe we do Everest. Like maybe we're in a season 10 and we do it. Like is that crazy?
You'll be asking a Sherpa for like a deal if you give him some Chiclets merch. Can we cut this thing down to like 30 grand?
It's a lot of money, 100 grand.
Yeah.
Like even doing
To
like
die.
K2. Like we're probably gonna do Jackson in the next season. We're trying to do like a 3-4 parter in the next season where we're gonna do Arizona, Utah, Jackson, Wyoming, something there, and then do somewhere in BC. And I think the idea would be to, in each season moving forward, is do one episode with a guest. So not overload it where, like, to me, my dream guest in BC, if I could pick one for the next 3, if that was our next 3 episode series, would be getting Trevor Linden to bring us on some insane hike in BC. Because he's a sick puppy. Like, he'll go out in the wilderness and go like camp out, and like he'll go off the beaten path where like not a lot of people are doing these hikes. Maybe there's like a chat, like a group chat that would talk about it. But he's doing bike rides that are probably 200 kilometers long. Like he'll go do a psycho bike ride. So he's quite the outdoorsman, and I feel like it would be a good feature from a hockey player perspective. But I don't necessarily think he cares about like doing Chiclets. He cares more about like, oh, it's a non-Chiclet show. It's a hiking show. Okay, I would do that.
Non-hockey show.
The non-hockey show.
Yeah. So
sometimes these guys want to get away from the game in that regard. So I was just throwing that name into the universe. Maybe he hears about it and it happens. And as these seasons progress, it would be fun to get outside of North America. Maybe we go to South America, go to Chile, like what's another one? Argentina. Like they probably have amazing hiking there. Why are you laughing?
They must.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, you're just. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure when you fit this in your schedule, but
that's why I said I think it would be cool to do 3-part seasons where I would do 2 of those in the summer and then 1 in the fall, and then boom, our 3 would be captured, and then maybe stay on the back end of the Olympics, because he said he's been to a couple of the hikes in Italy, Wonton, and he said that over there there's some of the most beautiful hikes in the world. So since we're already over there, maybe you bang 3 of them out in like a 10-day period, and boom, you got the next season. So Wonton is an interesting guy. It's why we're getting him on the pod. Like he's been in a lot of crazy life situations. He likes drug use. I tend to like natural drug use, Scooby snacks and weeds. So I figured it was a good fit. And I want to thank Corey, and I'm drawing a blank on the other kid who helped us edit. You will get his name because I think he's going to join us more and more moving forward. But to Corey and Wonton, it was a great experience, and I hope you people enjoy the video, and thank you guys for everything you put into it.
Awesome. We're going to throw it over right now to the Wonton Don. Guys, it's Wit, and Spittin Chiclets is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's talk numbers here for a minute. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session, which adds up fast. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and time. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. If there's anything worth it, it's your mental health. Therapy has helped me in so many different ways, whether it's stress from work. Yes, sometimes we get stress from this job, whether it's stress at home with your kids and trying to be the best possible parent you can be, but understanding that there's ups and there's downs and there's peaks and there's valleys. It's easy to talk to somebody and get so many things off your chest that would be hard otherwise to maybe talk to a friend about or a spouse. Sometimes you need to be in private. You can be in your home, you can be on your computer, and you can be talking to a BetterHelp therapist that can make the world of difference. You may not believe me. You may think I'm full of crap. No, I am telling you, I have done this. It has helped me immensely, and I promise it'll help you as well. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/Chiclets today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Chiclets. Guys, we got to talk about game time right now. Baseball is back. America's pastime. We're in it now. We are in it. Red Sox looks great, 6-3 through 9 games, but baseball is where we're at in this time of the year. And there's nothing like going to a baseball game, especially last minute. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. Plus, if you purchase a super deal when buying tickets on April 22nd, Game Time will plant a tree with the proceeds for Earth Day. That's right, Game Time's involved with the Earth and the planet and building trees. I guess you can't build a tree, but you can grow them on Earth Day. So April 22nd, if you use Game Time to buy tickets, they will plant a tree for proceeds going to Earth Day. Game Notes is in St. Louis for the Frozen Four. They are using Game Time to go to the game. $200 tickets available to a very special Thursday night in St. Louis. Game Notes boys will be there. You could put those savings back in your pocket that you receive with Game Time and spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned Cracker Jack. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those Red Sox tickets right now with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Chiclets, CHICLETS, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. We are now joined by Paul Bissonnette's co-star in a new series on YouTube, Peakin. This is Biz's exit plan from Chiclets, Donnie. You're it. You're the plan.
This is just what he's going to be doing like during the off season.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, you're saying 1 in the fall, 2 in the summer. I watched the first episode. Awesome content. I had a blast. I was laughing the whole time. So take us through how kind of Biz came to you. Like, we'll get into your life story and your career on YouTube and how everything's come about. But for Peakin, did Biz reach out to you? How fired up were you when that happened?
Yeah, Biz reached out and was just like, I saw you went to Everest Base Camp. Why didn't you climb Everest? And I had to explain to him that it's actually expensive to climb Everest. Like the cheapest you can do it for is $40K. Some people pay over $100K. And also I was in no shape to be climbing Everest. I was just happy to get to base camp. But then I was like, did you catch the hiking bug or something? And apparently he did. And he was like, I would love to bang out some hikes and film it with you.
Hey, didn't you see Kovalchuk's wife at base camp of Everest?
Yeah, I did the whole base camp hike with Kovalchuk's wife.
What?
How did you learn that it was her?
How did that come up? I think someone else on the hike was like, oh, did you know she's married to Kovalchuk? And like, and that wasn't her first big hike. Kovalchuk's wife has hiked the tallest mountain on every continent.
So she finished. She went and finished Everest. She didn't stop.
Biz, she's married.
Yes, she went and finished Everest, and I'm pretty sure she crushed it.
What was the hike to get to base camp?
You're an idiot, yeah.
That's like a 7-day hike something like that. And you have to take a
just
helicopter
to get to the base camp.
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
We took a helicopter, and so that knocked off like a day or two. But it was still
What a
like
hike that is. That's the hike I'll do with you guys.
Wait, I'll do that with you.
Yeah, I hiked Everest. I was in a chopper to the
What do
top.
you mean?
It was
So
awesome.
you took a chopper to like a certain elevation, got dropped off, and then you hiked to base camp. And how high is base camp?
base camp is like 20,000 feet, I think, or something.
Wow.
How much more is there to go?
It then, like, once you're at base camp, it then takes another month or something to get to Everest because you got to keep hiking up and then hiking back down to get used to the altitude.
You get
Wow.
you get acclimated, right? Is that the word? Acclimated?
Boom.
Yeah,
Acclimatized.
nice biz.
So,
Acclimatized.
Donnie, like, what is the price? Like, is it to pay the Sherpa?
Yeah, paying the Sherpas, paying for your accommodation up at base camp because you're living there for a while. I hiked up to base camp with the guy. Have you ever seen that movie 13 Peaks or something? Biz, I know I was talking
Yeah.
to you about it. It's on Netflix, NIMS. And he's become
That
world
guy's a
famous.
savage.
Wait, I told you about this when I watched it. I came on the podcast and mentioned I did and how inspiring it was. And mind you, this guy, he was in the Army or Navy. Like he's got a
British
military
SAS, I think he
background.
was in, right?
Yeah, he was in the Gurkhas, which even though it's like the Nepalese special forces, they like work with the British military. They have like
Yeah.
a special relationship with the British military. They're known to be the biggest badasses like in the world.
The British SAS is the most hardcore.
He's also got an insane VO2 as well. Like it just so happened to be a little bit more natural for him. So he ended up crushing those 13 peaks, which if you watch the documentary, like the fact that it seems like punishment in that case. At least we have to go do one and then escape it a little bit and go back to reality, Donnie.
Yeah. And I mean, we just did a 1-day hike. I think the next step is us doing a hike where we have to camp one day on the trail.
So why don't we get into your past too? Like you're an interesting guy. Like the reason I wanted to do it with you specifically is because you've had and been on a lot of adventures. Now, where were you born and like when did you start traveling the world as much as you have in at least your heydays?
I grew up in the town right next to Witt, Cohasset, Massachusetts.
Really?
Yeah. A pretty sheltered existence there. My parents took me on a few trips growing up, but I think it was in college. All my friends were going abroad to like Spain, Australia. And I was like, I want to go somewhere that I'll probably never go to again. So I went abroad to Botswana, Africa. And that's where I kind of caught the traveling bug because you realize like, no matter where you are, people are the same. Like we stayed with a host family at one point in this village. And my friend's host family was just a 22-year-old pothead. And so we would just like go over to his little hut and like smoke weed and play cards. And I was like, this is what I'd be doing if I was back in the US, but I'm in a random village in Botswana.
How's the Botswana weed?
It's actually great. I mean, it's bad, but I think weed these days is too good. So it was nice for me. It was solid mids.
So right when you did that, or I guess at what point did you realize like I kind of want to do this for a living? And was YouTube like the idea from the beginning? Like I can just chronicle everything, make my own channel because you had a big following before you were even with Barstool.
And we got to remind people, Donnie, before we move forward, the Peakin video is on your channel, which is what on YouTube?
The Wonton Don on YouTube.
Okay, there you go.
No, like YouTube and traveling for a living was not really the plan. I graduated from college and I had like no idea what I wanted to do. And
That's a panic.
Yeah.
That must be a panic, I think.
It is. And I had a friend that had gone abroad to Shanghai, China, and then he had just like moved back out there. And he was like, just come out here for a year. You can get a teaching job right off the bat. And then on your weekends and holidays, you could like travel to Thailand, Southeast Asia. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do that for 10 months while I figure out what I want to do with my life. And like those 10 months turned into almost 8 years in China. But my buddy who convinced me to move out there, he knew how to film and do some video editing because I didn't know how to do any of that. And once I saw how hilarious a place China was, because like when I was out there, it was adult Disney World, especially for expats. Like people think, oh, China, they're like super strict. That had to be really scary. But there was like from 2010 to 2016 in Shanghai, like if you were a foreigner, not like a local Chinese. They like didn't care what you did. You could just do like whatever you wanted.
Can you give us examples?
Why? Like, I don't even get that. Like, they were just like, whatever. They're not our citizens, so we don't care.
Yeah, they're like, that's above my pay grade. They're like, I'm not getting paid to deal with these foreigners. Like, I don't know. At one point, I brought like a keg onto a traffic island in China and just like posted up. It had like palm trees, and I was like, yeah, this is my own private island in the middle of the city. And we just posted up and crushed a keg out there. I was able to sneak ringside at a Manny Pacquiao fight in Macau, which is like the Asian Las Vegas. And I was wearing a green suit, and I kind of just like, if you just acted like you were supposed to be there, they like, no one would really tell you to leave. So I just kind of like I started off in the nosebleeds, and then I just kept on like making my way closer and closer and like walking around like I was like a VIP, which I wasn't. And finally I was just like crouched, I think in front of Pacquiao's wife and family, just watching the match. And
with Kovalchuk's wife.
Yeah. And if you're watching the HBO feed of that fight, like at the end when after the fight they're interviewing Manny Pacquiao and you see me in a green suit just pop up in the background.
What about the food over there? Like, isn't that part of your series where you just eat the grossest shit?
When I first started working for Barstool, so I was making videos over there. Barstool shared the first 2 videos I ever made. The first was I was teaching kindergarten, and I just asked them, I was like, can I bring in someone to film my class to like build my portfolio? And I was teaching them like, Yankees suck. We love Kevin Garnett. Like, Derek Jeter sucks. And Barstool shared that. Portnoy didn't believe that I was actually in China. He was like, he just filmed this in Boston's Chinatown. But no, I was indeed actually in China. And then I filmed another game at a video at a Shanghai Sharks game, which is their basketball team. And I was just going nuts, pretending like I was just if you put a diehard alcoholic Celtics fan at a Chinese basketball game and going nuts. Like I danced on the court and stuff, and like Barstool shared that.
And did the Sharks love you? Like the organization liked you, right? You were or no?
No, not at first. I was actually like public enemy number 1 for a while.
Get the of this basketball organization.
Yeah, after I ran on the court and danced with the cheerleaders, they were like, we need to get this guy out of here. So I filmed a video. If you search the Shark Night, it was me just sneaking into the basketball arena, like wearing different disguises. I dressed up, and then I eventually dressed up like a woman. But then they saw that video and they were like, oh, actually, you know what? This guy could be good for the Sharks. And so the following season, they gave me like courtside seats for the whole season.
Wow, moving on up, eh?
Yeah.
Was it over there that you got your nickname, the Wonton Don, in China?
Yes. I had made this like a rap song with a friend, and they're like, what are you going to call yourself? And I had no idea. And like in the vids all my vids were Donnie Does blank. And then my buddy was like, what about the Wonton Don? That sounds good. You know, Kanye West was the Louis Vuitton Don. Rick Ross was the Teflon Don. So yeah, I went with the Wonton Don, and that stuck.
I thought it had to do with the fact that you're probably eating a lot of noodles over there.
Oh, well, I'm a crab rangoon chef. I make a mean crab rangoon. So
I have seen that.
Yeah. So those are wrapped in wonton wrappers.
So for people who don't know, this is actually the second time the Wonton Don has been on Spittin Chiclets. He was a guest episode 55 years ago.
What?
Discussing his trip to Russia to watch Yipper's team, the Kunlun Red Stars. So I don't know if you have any memories of kind of your trip to Russia, what you thought of the country. Like, did you do a lot of traveling there?
No, I would say out of all my trips, that was the least fun. Like, so I had met Brandon Yip because so I think Gaz put us in touch, and he was like, yo, this dude is like moving out to Shanghai to play in the KHL expansion team in China. And so I hung out with Yip a few times. He was a beaut. Like, he would get tables at the club and invite me and stuff. I think he was having a blast out there, but he was like, yo, we're flying to Moscow soon to play the Red Army team. That's what, like, one of the teams in Moscow is called the Red Army. And I pitched it to Dave. I just sent an email like, hey, can I fly to Moscow and film a video about this? He was like, yeah, sure. And yeah, I went with a camera guy I didn't really know. And then I had a fixer there who is this Canadian hockey journalist that was living in Russia. And I knew I was in trouble when I showed up, and he was like, so what do you want to do? I was like, I'd be down to try some like local Russian food. And he just brought me to a Hooters because he had a crush on one of the girls at Hooters. Like he did not care about me at all. He's like, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And then when I arrived, I learned that like Yip couldn't even play in the game because he had checked some guy in the nuts in a previous game and got like a 3-game suspension. And so I was kind of I was in Russia. I didn't know anybody. It was the middle of the winter. And like Russians, once you get to know them, they can be friendly, but they're not like, really smiley
They're
guys.
not warm and fuzzy.
No, they're not warm and fuzzy. So I just spent a lot of time like alone drinking vodka on that trip. But yeah, I do remember hopping on Chiclets. That also wasn't the first time I've filmed some content with Chiclets. I was invited on a fishing trip out of
I lasted 2 minutes.
I know. And so I was excited to hang out with Biz, film some content with him. We show up, we film the intro, and then we hop on the boat, and Biz is immediately like, I'm seasick, and he just goes in the cabin and sleeps the rest of the fishing trip.
I was hurting, dude.
Where was
RA
this?
RA was in RA mode that day.
Yeah. And then I remember
Brunelli was there too. I think you guys caught one fish.
Yeah, we caught one fish. We drank a lot of Pink Whitney. And then we got back on the shore. We went to like Legal Seafoods or something. You got mobbed by fans and you were like, all right, I'm going home. I'm going to bed. I was like, all right.
Nice meeting you, Biz.
Yeah. Yep.
Good seeing.
Let's do a show together.
Good seeing you.
How long did you say that the hike took you guys in when you guys were in Tennessee?
It was a full, we started the hike at 9 and we got back at 5 p.m. So it was an 8-hour hike.
Do you think it could have been cut down if like Biz didn't talk to every single person that walked by, or like, had to look at every single tree? Do you think
Donnie,
it could
why
have been
the
cut
fuck
down
you
a couple
shaking
hours?
your head like that? Like you, I was faster than you and Corey. I was buzzing as far as the hike.
Well,
Like,
Corey
when
had
you-
14 knee braces on, so
Yeah.
obviously you're going to beat him.
Yeah,
And also we cut this part from the episode, but like Biz was like making drug jokes with everybody who walked by too. There'd be like a 60-year-old like lady on the trail, and he was like, oh, we didn't have room for the cameras in the bag because of all the narcotics we got. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to be making narcotics jokes with these like 60-year-olds.
How incredible is it when you're like talking to Biz, but then he just like doesn't answer when he's on his phone? And you're just like, did you have any moments like that?
Well, that was one of the reasons he wanted to start hiking. He's like, hiking helps me get off the phone. So
Yes.
I think he was doing a pretty good job of staying off his phone on the trail.
Nice.
what are some other what are your craziest adventures throughout your time? Like, you were obviously hired by Barstool at a certain point. I don't know if I ever got clarification. Like, you kind of like at what point did they make you full time when you were over there? And what other countries did it bring you to? Because I saw when you joined like a football team in Nigeria
that's
or
amazing.
something. Like, there's some wacky
Yeah.
shit that you've done.
Uganda.
Him and Billy.
Yeah,
God.
that was definitely one of the wildest trips I did. Me and Billy went and coached football in Uganda. But so Barstool shared my first 2 vids, and I was like, oh, maybe, this like YouTube career has legs. But then they didn't share a single vid for the next like 3 years. And, some of my vids were getting like 1,000 views. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll have to find a real job. And then like they shared a few more vids after that. And like I was talking to Dave at one point about a full-time job, but it never amounted to anything. So yeah, at one point I did move back to the US and I tried to start a Susie business, half suit, half jersey, all class. It was these like,
Can't believe that didn't make it.
yeah, that didn't make it. But I got like official licensing with Clemson University and I like moved to Clemson. I tried to like sell these kind of like sports jacket, sports jersey hybrids for a bit. That did not take off. And that's right around the time that Barstool got their first outside investment and they all moved to New York. So I knew they'd be looking to like hire some more people. And they had the first season of Barstool Idol. And so I signed up for that just to get back in front of Dave and and pitch them a bunch of ideas. And thankfully they were like, okay, we already know who you are. We've shared your videos in the past. So you don't even have to do this full competition. You can just have a job right now on the spot.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I moved back out to China and started cranking out vids again.
Give me like, what's the weirdest food that like you've eaten that you would actually recommend?
I got one for you. Raw horse.
Oh, Donnie.
Hopefully Portnoy does not hear this.
Oh,
But-
what? Yeah. What? You ate a horse?
Yeah, in Japan, they serve raw horse, kind of like sashimi style, and it was fantastic. It was good.
Really?
Yeah,
Like dipped in any sauce or anything?
yeah. I think I put a little soy sauce on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like steak tartare a bit, or like steak carpaccio, but that was good. That was
Merles
good.
has
Shit.
told all of us Japan is the best place he's ever been. He said it's the cleanest, like most incredible food. Like he just raves about it. My brother actually went on his honeymoon there. Same thing. Like, is Japan that desirable of a trip for one of us someday?
Yeah, I would say it's my favorite place to eat and drink in the world. Like,
Wow.
you don't even have to plan much. Just walking around the city, trying different food, trying different cocktails. They're all about their like highball cocktails, which are just whiskey sodas, but they're so much better in Japan. Yeah, so I think it's definitely worth a trip.
Nice.
What's the worst thing you've ever eaten? Like you said, the most surprising thing. Like, what are like a top 3 or top 5 of like, oh, I had it and like I got sick from it.
That would be balut. It's served in the Philippines, and it looks like an egg, but it's like an egg that they let like halfway develop into a chicken. So it's just like, oh, so you crack
Oh
open the
my God.
We
egg.
might get canceled, boys.
You crack open the egg, and then you're like, wait, was that a beak? Was that a feather? So it's like,
Oh,
it's like,
what?
No, dude.
it's like
and you
half,
just put it down the hatch?
yeah, you pour in a little
No
soy
pun
sauce
No
intended.
pun intended.
and put it down the hatch. Yeah, that was not
Oh.
good. I was dry heaving. You might even get like a half developed feather.
Why
in
do
there.
they do it? Like they like it? It tastes good to them?
Apparently,
Why did you try it?
because that's what they eat there. Because so I started a show when I started working for Barstool called Whoa, That's Weird, where I would just try the weirdest food I could find.
And you puked when you had that? Or dry heaved?
Dry heaved a bunch. I don't think I fully puked.
Give me any stories about maybe some like close calls. Like I have to assume with what you were doing, like there was a chance you ended up in a foreign prison. Like I don't know if that's true or if there have been no really run-ins with the law. Like how has that gone?
I had a bunch of run-ins with the law in China, but like Chinese police were a joke back then, at least. Like I was actually brought to the police department after I danced on the court at a Chinese basketball game. And they like sat me down, and then I just explained to them. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was a rule here. Like in America, we're allowed to dance on the court." And they were like, "Oh, okay."
Of course.
And then they just checked my visa to see that I was in China legally and let me go. Yeah, like I got in trouble. I snuck into a Rolling Stones concert in China once. I made like a fake press pass, so I was actually underneath.
You're kind of like Pasha, sneaking in all these places.
I guess so. And I had snuck underneath the stage of the Rolling Stones concert, and their head of security, who was a guy from the US, caught me, and he freaked out. He was like, I was holding a briefcase, so it did look very shady.
Oh.
Like I was underneath the stage. He's like, what is this guy doing? He like dragged me by the collar into a back room, and he was like, you are fucked, buddy. Like this does not look good for you. You know what I'm going to do to you? I'm handing you over to the Chinese authorities. And then they hand me over to the Chinese authorities, and they don't really know what to do with me. Like they barely speak English. So like they bring me to the police department, and like they make me write a note what I did wrong, which they can't even read. So I felt like I was back in like third grade. I was like, Rolling Stones are my favorite band. So I made a fake press pass. I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have done that. And then they like look at the note. They're like, all right, whatever, you can leave.
I had I mean, you seem like an idea guy and, throwing shit at the wall, see if it sticks. Has there ever been like, an idea that you thought was going to be amazing and flopped, or one that you didn't think was going to be great and it was a home run for you?
I would say most of my ideas have worked out. maybe the Russia trip wasn't as like, I thought I was going to make like a 6-part series about traveling to Russia. I ended up just releasing one video. So that like that trip didn't work out as well as I thought it would. But I've been pretty lucky. Like most recently, I had the idea to bring like White Sox Dave to get a hair transplant in Turkey. And then that like snowballed into like 4 other Barstool employees and then 9 Barstool fans coming with me. And I was like, this could go off the rails. Like, I don't know.
What was the name of that?
Baldstool. Thank you for the shout out on the unnamed show, Whitney.
Yeah, of course. Typical miserable Portnoy. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Fucking sending these guys there. Fucking bullshit. And Donnie texted me. He's like, dude, this is like going great. Like the content's awesome. And I figured it would be.
And it didn't cost the company anything because they covered we got them to like sponsor all of our flights and the hair transplants, and as well as pay Barstool on top of that.
How are the results?
We got to wait like a full 9 months to see the full results, but I think White Sox Dave is starting to look better.
Unfortunately, he looked great once he shaved his head prior to the surgery. It's like, dude,
he looked like Jason Statham.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Challenge Jason Statham.
I would say I still haven't released the content from this, but I also traveled to India right before I had a kid. I went from the Baldstool trip to India because I've always wanted to go there, see it firsthand. And it was, I mean, that country is intense. I mean, it makes China look like a clean, like calm town in comparison. Like you go to India.
Really?
It's
just chaos, eh? Like just too many people.
Too many people, too much trash everywhere.
Oh,
so loud. It's insane. But I got some vlogs from that trip coming out. But and like one thing I wanted to film there was slum golf. I saw a YouTube video about these guys in India and they play golf in the slums. And so I reached out to him and he was like, all right, but like, you're going to have to pay me because I got to get all my boys to play golf with me. And I got to like pay off the slum to make sure it's okay to film. He charged me $360, which isn't a lot in the US, but that's probably like a couple months. Like that's probably like 3 months salary over there. And then like we show up and I thought he was going to have like a full like course, like throughout the slum. He just had these like 2 holes and they weren't even holes. They were just little like potholes in the slum. He showed up with his 2 sons and then we play the 2 rounds. He had, I think 3 holes total. Each hole was maybe 20 yards long. And then he's like, all right, you can pay me now. We're done. So I thought that video was going to go a lot better.
Is it safe to say like India or Russia would be the answer to a place you'd never go back? That you're like, I'm all set.
Yeah, I mean, never say never. India's a big country. I was just in their 2 largest cities. Maybe if I went to a more like rural part of the country, I would enjoy it more. But yeah, I would say that's the answer.
Would you rather go back to India or order breakfast with Biz again?
I mean, it was fun, like watching Biz just ruin this waitress's day. So
yeah,
it was crazy. But like, I think it was
that's
very
why they
funny
have
for
a
us.
make your own breakfast.
We've like seen that so often of like just like making his own menu. You must have been like, what the fuck is this guy doing right now?
Well, I was a little just shell shocked at the fact that Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg had the worst restaurants I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was brutal.
No, that was
it
tough
was
too.
Brutal
Like,
eating.
the night before, we're just trying to find a place to eat, and Biz is walking up to all these random people on the street being like, say if you were trying to take your wife out on like an anniversary dinner, where would you go? And the guy's like, I'm not bringing my wife here on an anniversary.
Yeah, exactly.
Any Michelin star restaurants here?
I killed my wife.
And then
my wife and my sister.
Yeah. And with the breakfast order, like I knew we were in trouble as soon as we show up and he's like, how's your coffee? I mean, it's like it's a pancake hut. You know that the coffee's not going to be that good.
Like a nice Americano or something.
A nice Americano at fucking Denny's.
Yeah, and then asking about the fresh squeezed orange juice. And that was before we even got into the order. The only thing that I got pushback on is I was giving you a hard time for ordering the eggs over medium. And some people were like, oh, no, that's actually, you can order eggs over medium. I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah. Well, you're a rookie.
We're getting
That's why you
word,
thought the
or I'm
Mellow
getting
Mushroom
word
was
on,
a 10 out of 10 pizza joint.
I'm
Go
getting
ahead.
word on the chat here that says, I think Donnie filmed a video recently in Mexico about the origins of psychedelic mushrooms. Is that true?
I have. That video still needs to come out. I haven't put it
Wow.
together.
How come I never got the invite?
I assumed you'd be busy. That was before I got the text about hiking.
Well, let's hear about this part, and then I want to get your feeling on where you think we should travel to next. I mentioned it before you hopped on, but I want to hear about this tripping balls in Mexico.
So that's the thing. I think I was probably tripping more balls on our hike than I did in Mexico, but I went to this town that first introduced the Western world to shrooms. This dude, Gordon Wasson, he was a VP at JP Morgan, and then in his spare time, he was a mycologist, a like mushroom scientist as a hobby. And he heard about, this was in the 1950s, he heard about a tribe that used mushrooms in religious rituals. So he went down, participated in the rituals with this shaman called Maria Sabina. And then he went back to the US and wrote an article for Life magazine called like the hunt for the magic mushroom. And that's how everybody in the Western world found out about magic mushrooms. And then like everybody started to go down to this town. Like apparently the Beatles went down, Bob Dylan. And so I knew a guy that was leading a group down there to do a mushroom ritual with Maria Sabina's great grandson. And I participated in the ritual, the ceremony, a little disappointed in kind of like, it was a very cool experience. I would say I wasn't feeling the shrooms too heavy. Maybe should have done some more, but I am working on that like mini documentary, which I'll put out soon enough.
Where do you think we should head to next? I mentioned AZ, Utah. I mentioned Jackson. I mentioned BC. I mentioned having a special guest each season. You guys, they said we should try to get Chara, who's a machine when it comes to like the wilderness and really anything. Like he does triathlons, Ironmans. So who would be your dream guests, and where do you want to travel to even around the world?
So one part of the world that I've never been to is the Pacific Northwest, British Columbia. And like, I know you know your way around those parts very well. So I think filming an episode in the Vancouver area would be awesome. Jackson, Wyoming. I mean, one thing I learned from this trip is Biz has properties like all over the country.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
a very funny moment.
Anywhere I travel to, I want to buy a place there.
It was that Biz, I was asking Biz about Big Deal Brewing, and I was like, oh, is that still around? And Biz was like, no, they discontinued it. And he was like, sometimes you have to take an L. And I was like, Biz, I don't think Big Deal Brewing was an L. You guys got to release your own beer. You probably made some money. And like an L to Biz would be just like a win for pretty much anyone else.
Well, I mean, you have bigger aspirations than it.
He's
not
like, I didn't
being a thing.
smash a rocket yesterday, L.
Yeah.
It's like,
You guys are fucked.
So, yeah, I mean, you have a property in Jackson, Wyoming. That place looks beautiful.
I just have a piece of dirt. I think it'd be fun to go like camp out on it and like maybe even bring one of those silver bullets, like they're like those I don't know what you call them, the ones that you put on the back of the truck.
Original?
Yeah.
No, like they got those, like the thing that looks like a can, like it's a trailer.
Winnebago?
Yeah, like something like that.
Donnie, if you were given, I don't know, an enormous budget, say, like as much as you could ever ask for, where would you go back to film a piece of content? Like what's one place with like kind of unlimited resources you'd be like, I think I could make a banger of a video?
Yeah, where are we going, dog?
I mean, I definitely want to end this Peakin series, or not end it, but have like one big finale be me and you climbing Mount Tanzania, the tallest mountain in Africa.
Have you ever done it?
No, I haven't done it. Chris Long, NFL player, he like hikes it once every few years for his charity. And he was like, we would love to have you and Biz on the hike.
Wow, that would be huge.
And that hike, unlike Everest, which takes a month, like you can climb that in a week. So I think that is doable.
Do you think that we could maybe even like go to Everest? Like, is that even a thing? Like, would you do that?
I mean, if we had an insane budget, I guess. It's not one of those things where I'm like, I need to climb Everest before I die. But I mean, it would be insane content. I think you could do Everest. I think you're a maniac. You could probably push through, do it with minimal.
Well, I ain't
training.
doing it without you, buddy. You're my partner in this series, Peakin. So
Great.
I'm excited to have you, and you're a blast to hang out with. You're a world of knowledge.
I got one last question, and I know you're a married man, a new father, but for the single guys listening, where are the most beautiful women in the world of the places you've traveled?
Okay.
Thailand, but they're dudes.
Thailand. I did have a friend who was down in Thailand. And he was getting blown by someone he thought was a chick, and then he reached up to feel her tits, and it was just a chest.
Oh, nice.
It was just a chest. So you got to be careful in Thailand. They got some good-looking ladyboys.
Oh, God.
Over there. Let's see. So, I mean, I haven't been there. My friend swears that Lebanese chicks are the hottest.
I don't even know where that is.
Me neither.
Okay.
Lebanon,
yeah.
I know. Where is Lebanon?
The Middle East. It's like a little bit below Syria. So I went to the World Cup, and I went to a USA versus Iran match. And the Iranian women were beautiful. So I would say like Persian woman.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess like when they live in Iran, most of the time, I think they have to cover up. But because they were at the World Cup, they didn't have to. And I was like, wow.
So you were in Qatar?
Yeah.
Were you allowed, like, wasn't it like you couldn't drink there or something? Or was that kind of nonsense?
There was a bunch of hotel bars where you could drink, and they also had some fan zones. But like a week before the games, or like 3 days before the games, they were going to sell beers outside of all of the venues, and they banned that right before. So you would get really drunk before the matches, and then by halftime, you would just be brutally hungover, drinking Bud Zeros to try to like trick your brain into thinking you have a buzz.
I actually got one last one. Who would be your dream guest?
You know who I saw was doing some hiking and losing weight? Jelly Roll.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
We'd have to go back to Tennessee.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I saw he's been like trying to get out there and bang out some hikes to lose weight.
If he went with you two, you guys would end up like he'd fall off the wagon after a couple of days with you two. The whole country music world would hate you.
I think bringing Whit would be amazing.
Yeah, for the helicopter trip.
I mean, like, Whit, are you much of a hiker? I was thinking we could hike Blue Hills with you.
No, we ain't fucking doing
he
Blue
likes
Hills.
Blue Hills.
Yeah. I do Blue Hills all the time. I do
a 30-second video.
Donnie, I do 800-foot hikes on the Peloton 3 days a week.
Doesn't that get a little boring though? Because that's the thing. I have a Peloton as well, but like, it's not the same as being outside.
Beyond boring. Beyond boring. I would love to do something with you guys. It just depends on like the scale we're talking here, right?
Yeah, like, would you ever camp out for a night?
No.
Okay. All right. That's
Unless
fair.
you guys are throwing a bag at me to get me in the series.
We're doing a one night rule. 1 night rule for season 1. Maybe by season 2 we'll go 2 nights, but I feel like that's a good progression. Season 1, 1 night out.
I'd start with 1 night, Donnie. Second night, he'll be humping you in the friggin' tent.
Yeah. I mean, he was teaching me how to squat, and he was getting a little handsy.
He had some
Donnie,
tight hands.
we appreciate it, buddy. The Wonton Don. Everyone check him out on YouTube. Check out Peakin and all your past videos. We appreciate you coming on, buddy. Great job with everything you're doing.
We peaking. We peaking.
That was sick,
We
man.
go to the top and we fucking won't stop. We peaking.
All right, yeah, maybe we'll release an accompanying music video next episode.
I would do 100% with you. Donnie, move your head. Show everybody the logo.
Yep.
Unreal logo.
Shout out Francis Berry on the logo design.
Dude, that looks like a North Face. It
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like it should be like a North Face. It's unreal. That's
Yeah.
an unbelievable design. Unreal.
Also, it took Biz like 2 days to even realize that Peaking was a double entendre and actually was like a reference to Peakin as well.
We peaking.
But thanks. I think you guys taught him what the word foliage means. So
That's Wit. Wit got me that
okay,
one.
nice.
Yeah. Well, not bad
Brian
for a French
Foliage.
Canadian kid from Welland, Ontario. Broadening my horizon, not only in vocabulary, but also in the world of hiking. So thank you so much, Donnie. You're a world of knowledge, and I can't wait to continue this series with you if we get it sponsored.
Guatemala, I want to go to with you. There's a hike, and up top the hike, you get to watch an active volcano spew out lava. So
This episode of Spittin' Chiclets is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Body Armor Flash IV is packed with electrolytes and provides faster and longer lasting hydration with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or dyes. If you're watching right now on YouTube, you can see Grinelli. The man lives for Flash IV. He crushes them all day long. He was at a bachelor party in Scottsdale. G, how many Flash IVs did you have on the way home?
Oh my God. It's
You need them.
best part. You can travel with these ones, which is incredible, but I always bring my sturdy go-to. Right when I walked in the door, Alana had one waiting for me.
And that's why they're amazing to drink, because of the flavors. Great tasting flavors. They got strawberry kiwi. They got tropical punch. Body Armor Flash IV gives your body the rehydration it needs to recover. Any single time I wake up feeling a little tired, maybe you pee and you see it's a little bit yellow, I'm a little bit dehydrated, bang! Body Armor Flash IV, strawberry kiwi, right in your mouth, all the way to feeling perfectly hydrated again. And right now you can get yours at a local 7-Eleven or on Amazon. Go to a local 7-Eleven or get on the Amazon app on your phone and order some Body Armor Flash IV to you and feel better today. Thank you so much to the Wonton Don. An interesting career story and person. I think it's very easy to say that guy's a beauty. Biz, great content with him. Guys, I think that Gabriel Landeskog might have really been laughing at us as we talked to him about possibly coming on throughout the playoffs to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs and what teams were going through, different storylines, because it looks like there's a chance that he's going to be back. And Adrian Dater at Puckpedia, he said that Landeskog can agree to a 3-game conditioning stint with the Colorado Eagles, and it won't count against the cap for the Avs. I'm hearing that this is likely. This is so he can play before the playoffs. Obviously, with the cap and his cap hit, there'd have to be some serious gymnastics to figure out a way to get him in the lineup before the cap doesn't exist when the playoffs begin. He goes, gets some games, but even watching the clips that are released online, he looks different than he has at any point prior. So happy for him, man. Everyone heard the interview. Everyone's seen, I hope, all the documentary episodes that have been released about his comeback story, and he looks great. So I'm thinking we're going to see this guy in the AHL for a couple games, and then game 1 ready to rip for the Colorado Avalanche.
Crazy, man. That would be such a wild boost for them, too. Like, if he's able to be 75 to 80% of what he was during their cup run, he had 11 goals, 22 points, just fucking great wall play in both ends, eating pucks down low, net front presence, like great leadership in the locker room. Like that would, especially if they don't end up drawing Dallas in the first round, like I would probably put them as cup favorites.
Yeah. Even if they have Dallas, the news that Heiskanen might be out for the first round, I don't know. I actually don't think that Dallas can beat them without him. Maybe Ottinger stands on his head. Maybe the depth up front for Dallas takes over, but no Heiskanen, man, against that offense. Like I don't know if they can do it. I don't, which would suck for Dallas based on the team they have and what they could do with a healthy Heiskanen, who's top 5, if not top 3 defenseman in the game. So that's kind of crazy to hear about that. But I hope Landeskog's back just to see him. Yeah, Biz, like, you imagine he's probably playing 4th line. Minutes won't be anything crazy. But, buddy, he's on the power play. He's in front of the net, in the locker room, his leadership. I would just be so happy for him because based on talking to him, I think there was many moments where he, probably, thought this is done. Like, I'm done. And maybe I'm wrong. And
the way he was talking on our podcast about it made me think that it was done.
The thing about him too, and just getting to know him while we interviewed him, is I feel like he's a guy. If they were like, "Hey, Gabe, you got to play 4th line here for a couple games," like he's going to be a-okay with that, and
he doesn't
give it his all every night. Play his 7-8 minutes, and then get going and start feeling good about his game. But man, if he comes back, imagine that crowd first game, him coming out for the lap. Oh, it'll be an electric factory,
dude. It's been 3 years.
I know. Think of that.
Speaking of crowd, I kind of forgot to mention this when we were talking about the Long Island thing. I thought that the fans made that extra special. Like, that's why I wanted him to score the empty netter, because I thought like the home game, and I felt like the crowd that traveled to UBS Arena, they made that game so sick. So great job by the fans to elevate that. And I didn't really have much else to talk about, guys. I'm pretty gassed. Not much sleep last night.
How to
Traveled
battle,
across
busy.
the country. What's that?
Attaboy, Biz.
How to battle.
Well,
how
we
to
got
battle.
more. Do you want me to just cut it short?
Oh no, what else you got?
Me and you can rip it. Biz can.
Yeah, if
rest
you gotta
his
go,
eyes.
what
buddy,
do you
I
got?
get it.
Tell me what you got.
I get it. BC forward Ryan Leonard, Denver defenseman Zeev Buyam, and Michigan State forward Isaac Howard were announced Thursday as the Hobey Baker Award finalists. I think you're going to see long NHL careers out of all these guys. Leonard's already playing for Washington. Buyam will be in the lineup, I'm guessing, for the Wild, either after they lose the semifinals to Western Michigan or after they lose or win the finals against Penn State or BU. The same way after the Frozen Four, Cale Makar's sophomore year, he hopped in the lineup for Colorado against Calgary in the playoffs, looked dominant right off the bat. I think Zeev Buyam will be the exact same thing. And then Isaac Howard, you might have more. Yeah,
The
it's very
Iceman.
odd. Very odd that he hasn't signed yet, almost to the point where if they are having some sort of beef, he can just go back to school. And yeah, I think ideally after dominating the way he did and it being his third year in college, he doesn't want to go back. But then he goes back and he waits till August and he's a free agent and can sign with anyone. So what's going on with Tampa and him?
He marches to the beat of his own drum. Like, I think he's just a kid who he's not going to do what anyone tells him to do. I think he's going back next year. I think Michigan State has pretty deep pockets. I think that they can offer him a pretty good NIL deal. And maybe he had a conversation with the Lightning, and I don't know this for sure, but maybe they said, hey, like, look, we have a great team right now. We're buzzing. We're firing on all cylinders. You're not going to get NHL time. And he's thinking in his head,
they can't guarantee it to him.
They can't guarantee him NHL time. And he's thinking in his head, well, why don't I go back to Michigan State? I'll make, I don't know, $100,000. I'll be the big man on campus. And I'll go win a Hobey Baker. And Trey Augustine's going back too next year. So, like, when you think about
then he gets to decide wherever he wants to go to as a free agent, kind of like Jimmy VC did and some of these other guys.
And Kevin Hayes.
Exactly. Because while Tampa seems sick, awesome franchise, it's like from everything I know about Ike is he wants to jump in there and play. He's a kid who wants to jump in there and get top 6 minutes. I'm sure he wants power play time. That's just the type of kid he is. That's probably not happening in Tampa. So it is a very interesting situation unfolding.
Who's going to win the Hobey Baker, guys?
Leonard.
If he's that confident in his game, wouldn't he just be like, you know what, I'll sign there and prove that, I have to play. I'm not good where.
But maybe they're saying we don't want to sign you right now and burn a year, and that's pissing him off. And by the way, this is us completely spitballing here and
we're
talking
rumor
about
boys
possible
right now.
scenarios. I don't know him. I don't know what's going on, but I kind of expected once they lost out that he would hop right in, and it just hasn't happened. So obviously there's some disconnect between him and the Lightning. But for the Lightning, my thing is
we got another Goche.
No, my thing is like, why wouldn't you almost want to get him signed? Like, you have no prospects really. Like, there's some, but with all the trades they've meant of all these first rounders and going for the cup this many years, you'd think like, oh, we got this one stud. Let's at least get him signed. But there's something going on right now, and we don't have all the details. I wish we did.
I'd trade in a Buffalo right now if I was Tampa.
Yeah, then he's definitely not signing.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
I'm going back to Michigan State. I'm signing wherever I
Going back
want
to
in
community
August.
college rather than the Sabres.
I saw a stat. I think Ovi has
Transfer
500.
portal to fucking
Buffalo State.
Ovi has
Davenport
over
University.
590 goals since the last time the Sabres made the playoffs.
I saw that. That is wild.
You know what, though? Shout out Tage Thompson, dude. He's expected to play for Team USA at the World Championships next month. I think he leads the league in 5-on-5 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong. Over 40 again. I mean, just
how
a
long
hell
till
of
he's
a
asking
player.
for a trade out of town?
Yeah, God, that
Sure,
would,
he already has.
The Sabres
Shout
are
out to,
unbelievable, though. The Sabres have won 7 of 8 fucking games, dude. Like,
Dummies.
if there's one thing not to do, Buffalo, it's don't win at the end of this season and screw up your lottery odds even more. But nope, they keep winning when it doesn't matter. Classic Buffalo fashion. Merles was right on this one. He's like, they can't even tank correctly, these friggin' Buffalo Sabres, these poor bastards. But thank God they have Tage
If
Thompson.
Merles is saying that, whoo.
Yeah. The Islanders, they announced that Anthony Duclair is taking time away from the team to reflect after Patrick Roy's comments about him.
Waugh said that he and Duclair had a long, positive conversation Thursday morning, and the Islanders will go give Duclair all he needs. This came after basically Patrick Waugh's like he's lucky to even be in the lineup. He's playing horrible. Really carved his game. Just like a total individual attack on a guy after another Islanders loss. So I guess he's just kind of like, I need a minute here. So hopefully he's doing all right mentally. Did he play for Patrick Waugh in the Quebec League?
Yeah, in Quebec.
Yeah, he did.
Ramparts.
Wow, so maybe that's just like a history of like, I know what you can do. I know the player you can be, and I'm not seeing it. Like, what the fuck is going on? But hopefully Duclair's doing all right. And then last thing, the Canucks are determined to sign Rick Tocchet to an extension, but will exercise his team option for the 25-26 season if necessary, reports Elliot Friedman. Tocchet would be among the most coveted head coaches. I think everyone's looking at Philadelphia, and it just seems so obvious for him to go there after the player he was for the Flyers. So is it Talk's option or the team's option? G says, all right, it's the team's option. So I guess that's why they were so pissed off. Everyone's like, Tocchet's going to be coaching the Flyers next year. It's like, this is up to us.
Aquilini better fucking back up the Brinks truck, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
If he does, if he goes to Philly, I'll give Aquilini a hometown discount. I'll do it for $3 million a year.
Really?
Coach?
And you're not even from there, giving the hometown discount. That's unreal.
They're like, where's Biz? Where's Biz? Practice starts in 10. Oh, he's doing the grouse grind for the 14th time this week.
Him and Donnie.
He had to put his phone down. The stress of losing 9 in a row and
He's
the
on
Western Conference
shrooms,
has beat him.
hiking to the press box.
The media's all fired up post game. Like, Biz is on shrooms tonight. We're gonna get a couple crazy quotes after that loss.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Biz dresses himself for fourth line.
Oh,
Plays himself power play. All right. Well, Biz, great job with Peakin. Please, everyone, check that out on YouTube. And reminder to everyone in St. Louis, Frozen 4 party with the Game Notes guys at the Midwestern Saturday at 4:30 prior to the National Championship game. BU, baby, third year in a row. They have lost in the semifinal game the last 2. They got to get by Penn State, get into that national title game. Party at 4:30 at the Midwestern in St. Louis for everyone that's going to be in town for the Frozen 4. Go check out the Game Notes, guys. Get ready for the final game. And we will be back to you once again. Next week will be Tuesday, Friday. Game Notes will be coming at you. And once the playoffs gets going, we're Monday. Game Notes Wednesday. Chiclets back on Friday. I can't wait for the first, second round. And all the hot takes that will be spilling out of our mouths. So thank you for listening. Congrats to Alexander Ovechkin. Love both you guys.